Chapter 403 Upgrading Territory 1. This talent is interesting. Zhou looked at the talent of the scavenger thoughtfully. To Zhou, the first two effects were the most useful. The first was to be able to sense the existence of treasures within 1,000 meters and know the exact location of the treasures. The second was to extend the usage of the treasure by 2 times. To other lords, the first talent effect might be the best. If Zhou had obtained this talent when he first came to the High Continent, he would definitely think that the first talent's effect was top-notch. However, to the current Zhou, who had the King of Loots, he actually did not lack treasures. Therefore, he did not have much feelings for the first talent effect. As for the second talent effect, extending the usage of the treasure by 2 times, he felt that it was a little extreme. He had a feeling that in the future, this talent effect might produce an astonishing effect on a certain treasure at a certain point in time. As for the third effect, which increased the drop rate by 5%, it was naturally the most useless to Zhou. His drop rate had long been fixed at 100%. There was no difference between 100% and 105% effect. Then Zhou closed the Lord Talent interface. Even though the effect of this Lord Talent was not bad, it was only a green bronze tier Lord Talent after all, so Zhou did not pay much attention to it. Then, he took out the yellow gold tier territory token he had obtained today and walked out of the Lord Manor. It was worth mentioning that although there were many fog monsters' territories on the final battlefield, Zhou did not obtain a regional token after dealing with so many fog monsters' territorial forces today. In addition, he had seen no vassal relationship between the extraordinary tier and epic tier territories of the fog monsters, nor had he seen a monster kingdom formed by fog monsters. This allowed Zhou to make an educated guess in his heart. It was likely that only their respective territories existed in the fog monster faction on the final battlefield. As for regional territories, or even kingdom-level territories, they probably did not exist in the special land of the final battlefield. One of the basic conditions for establishing a kingdom was to have 30 regional territories, and at least one of them had to be extraordinary tier. There were no regional territories in the final battlefield, let alone establishing a kingdom. The final battlefield is really special. Zhou lamented. He could sense that there might be a huge secret on that battlefield. However, this secret was probably not something that he could come into contact with now. He stopped thinking and looked at the Lord Manor in front of him. A line of text appeared. Do you want to upgrade the Lord Manor? Yes, he said. The next second, 20 million units of basic materials, 500 yellow gold tier mist cores, 200 origin crystals, and 2 yellow gold tier territory tokens disappeared. Boom! A golden light immediately covered the entire Lord Manor. A moment later, the golden light dissipated. The obviously expanded Lord Manor appeared in front of Zhou. Rows of golden text notifications appeared. Congratulations! Your Lord Manor has been upgraded to a yellow gold tier advanced grade building. An additional gem has been added. Your territory has been upgraded to yellow gold tier advanced grade territory. Territory stone steel endurance increased to 5 million/5 million. Your territory has expanded to 400 kilometers times 400 kilometers times 20,000 m. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward. Basic construction blueprint treasure chest. Lord Talent notification. The upper limit of the enemy lord's power that you can use insight defection on has been increased to epic tier intermediate grade. Lord Talent hint. Your monster ranches can be upgraded. Lord Talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord Talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your Goddess of Lives shelter has increased. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. He had finally reached the yellow gold tier advanced grade. Previously, because he wanted to preserve the cities in the Taiyan Kingdom's territory, he had never taken away the territorial tokens in those cities. This gave the subjects of Blazing Sun City more places to choose to live. Furthermore, Blazing Sun City was no longer as crowded as before. However, this also made the upgrading of his territory stagnate. Originally, He had thought of conquering ownerless scarlet territories that were not under the jurisdiction of the kingdom to obtain territory tokens to upgrade the territory. Unexpectedly, his trip to the final battlefield had solved his problem. Even though it was a little different from what he had expected, he did not care. It was fine as long as the problem was resolved. Then he went to the gym. The gym in the Lord Manor was not much different from the gym on the Cerulean planet. They were all equipment and places used for fitness. However, there were two differences. The first place was that this gym was very large. It occupied a huge square area of 5 km * 5 km * 5 km in the Lord Manor. Moreover, it was 12 stories high. If Zhou opened this place, it would not be a problem to accommodate 100,000 people here. The second difference was that in addition to normal aerobic equipment, there were also swimming areas, yoga areas, eating areas, ear extraction and foot therapy areas, entertainment areas, fitness education areas. This was actually quite normal. Most importantly, apart from these areas, Zhou also saw the martial arts area that was specially used to practice martial arts, the soldier training area that was specially used to train the soldiers' offensive and defensive abilities, and the final battle hall that was specially used for personal combat or even military battles. After reading it, Zhou was enlightened. Then he looked at the upgrade requirements for the next level. Construction upgrade. 10 million units of wood, 10 million units of fine sand, 10 million units of metal, 10 million units of stone, 1,000 yellow gold tier mist core, 500 origin crystals, and 3 yellow gold tier territory tokens. After Zhou finished reading and realized that he had all these materials, he continued to upgrade without hesitation. Boom! 40 million units of basic materials, 1,000 yellow gold tier mist cores, 500 origin crystals, and 3 yellow gold tier territory tokens disappeared. A golden light that was several times brighter than the newly upgraded territory immediately covered the entire Lord Manor. A moment later, the golden light dissipated. The obviously expanded Lord Manor appeared in front of Zhou. Rows of golden text notifications appeared. Congratulations! Your Lord Manor has successfully been upgraded to a white platinum tier elementary grade building. It has been upgraded to an beginner grade Lord's Paradise. Your Lord's Paradise has a new white platinum tier elementary grade array. Your territory has been successfully upgraded to a white platinum tier elementary grade territory. Territory stone steel endurance increased to 10 million/10 million. Your territory has expanded to 1,000 km times 1,000 km times 20,000 m. All fog monsters within the territory of the new territory have been expelled. Scarlet fog will not appear in any of your territories. You have received an upgrade reward. Basic construction blueprint treasure chest. Lord talent notification. The upper limit of the enemy lord's power that you can use insight defection on has been increased to epic tier advanced grade. Lord talent hint. Your monster ranches can be upgraded. Lord talent hint. Your mysterious caravan faction has increased. Lord talent hint. The strength of the clergy in your Goddess of Lives shelter has increased. The notification was not over yet. Chapter 404 Upgrading Territory. Too soon. The notification that Zhou was expecting sounded. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun on becoming the first Lord to upgrade his territory to the White Silver Tier Elementary Grade. Reward: Supreme Treasure Chest +1, Reputation Rating +1, Race Unique Title. Glory of the Pioneer 3 has advanced to Glory of the Pioneer 4. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. Cerulean Planet World Channel announcement. Congratulations to the Lord of the Blazing Sun. I've finally upgraded to White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade and obtained the Glory of the Pioneer 4. Fortunately, I made it in time. Zhou heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that he had finally obtained the title. Previously, he was a little worried that this title would be snatched away by others because the leveling speed of his territory had slowed down. Fortunately, it was probably because of the gap between him and the other lords in the early stages that he was not surpassed by the other lords of the Cerulean planet during this period of time, and kept the title that he had been longing for. Then, he looked at the Lord's paradise in front of him. This building was 4 to 5 times larger than the Lord Manor. Its overall architectural style had not changed. It was still a dignified, luxurious, and heavy architectural style. However, it was very different from the previous Lord Manor. That was the density of elemental energy. Zhou stood outside the door and took a deep breath. He could smell a large amount of fresh energy being absorbed into his body. It made his spirit jolt and his body relaxed a lot. However, that was not the most important thing. Most importantly, he even felt that in addition to the various elemental energies he had absorbed just now, there was also abundant promotion energy. There was actually promotion energy in this beginner-grade Lord's paradise? Wouldn't that mean that he could naturally increase his strength by staying here every day even if he didn't do anything? As Zhou thought about this, he could not help but absorb the promotion energy here. He even circulated the Violet Cloud Divine technique in his body to accelerate the efficiency of absorbing this energy. A moment later, Zhou shuddered. Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. His strength was originally just a little bit away from the Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. Now that he had absorbed the promotion energy, it actually allowed him to break through the barrier of his realm and break through to the Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. As expected of a beginner-grade Lord's paradise, I didn't level up in vain. Zhou felt the astonishing energy circulating in his body and could not help but smile. He did not immediately look at the rewards for upgrading his territory. Instead, he skillfully opened the World Channel. As expected, most of the lords on the World Channel were talking passionately about how he had once again upgraded their territories ahead of all the lords on the Cerulean planet and gotten the first place again. However, unlike before, there were more members of the Star Alliance in the discussion this time. Our Alliance Lord is the greatest of all time. Our Star Alliance is the best. I knew that no one could compete with you for this title. Other lords, please do your best. Are we just going to watch the Lord of the Blazing Sun steal the limelight every time? Awesome, exciting? Do you think I don't want to? I can't do anything even if I want to. Spiritual Medicine Lord. Big Brother is amazing. Military Industry Lord. I just leveled up to Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade territory. I'm impressed. Why is the difference so big? Military Industry Lord, don't be discouraged. Big Boss Blazing Sun has always been in the lead and has long relied on this to obtain countless benefits. Now, he has already widened the gap between him and the other lords. So it's not embarrassing that you can't catch up to Big Boss Blazing Sunday. Having a Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade territory is already very strong. Military Industry Lord. One step ahead, many steps ahead. I can be considered to have experienced it deeply now. Impressive, impressive. Congratulations to Big Boss Blazing Sun for winning the glory of the Pioneer 4 again. Green Phoenix Lord. Congratulations, Alliance Master, for obtaining the glory of the Pioneer 4 again. Paper Immortal Lord. Lord Alliance Master is so fierce. Fertile Land Lord. As a member of the Star Alliance, I have to say that I'm honored even though it was our Alliance Master who took down the announcement. Awesome. Gold Merchant Lord. Welcome, Lords, to the Star Alliance's business collaboration. Let's get rich together. I'm envious. I want to join the Star Alliance too. Boo-hoo. Zhou's eyesight was excellent. He could easily find the members of the Star Alliance among the lords who spoke. It had to be said. This feeling of having his own people waving flags and supporting his back was quite comfortable. Compared to when he was on the entire channel's Lord announcement, and only Linger was cheering for him on the entire World Channel, he felt much better. He glanced at the Star Alliance's chat group. These Alliance members were also excitedly discussing the matter of their territory upgrading to White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade and entering the Lord announcement. Some of the bolder lords even tagged themselves. Zhou smiled and said, "Good luck, everyone. Let's work hard to upgrade our territory." He did not say anything else. Then he began to check the benefits of this upgrade. The first was Glory of the Pioneer 4. Title Name: Glory of the Pioneer 4. Title Quality: Unique Title of the Race. Title Effect 1. You are famous among the Cerulean Planet Lords. More people admire your reputation and yearn to join your territory. The number of subjects you can summon through the gate of summoning every day, plus 100%. Professional talents of the same level as the territory, among the subjects summoned plus 2. Title Effect 2. Your unique title suffix will be added behind your Lord title when you speak in any channel. You can take the initiative to turn it off or activate it. Title Effect 3. When you become the first Lord of Cerulean Planet to have a Diamond Tier Elementary Grade territory, this title will be upgraded to Glory of the Pioneer V and unlock more title effects. Title Description. The Supreme Will is the exclusive title given to the Pioneer among the Lords. Every Pioneer of every race has a higher chance of achieving extraordinary achievements. Zhou nodded slightly. He was not too excited. Unlike before, even though he was not lacking soldiers in his territory, he lacked professional subjects and lifestyle professional subjects. Therefore, every time the glory of the Pioneer leveled up, its buff to the Gate of Summoning would make him very excited. However, now that he had the White Silver Tier Lord talent, Embrace of the Conqueror, every time he conquered a territory, new non-professional subjects, or even professional subjects would join his territory. Under normal circumstances, thousands of non-professional subjects or professional subjects would join his territory every day. Therefore, his needs in terms of population were no longer as urgent as before. However, Zhou was still very satisfied with the reward of +5 for class talents of the same level in the territory. His territory level was now Green Bronze Tier Elementary Grade, which meant, in the future, he would not need to do anything, and the number of professional subjects below White Platinum Tier would increase by 5 every day. In the beginning, the talents attracted by his reputation rating were only around the White Platinum Tier. This was almost comparable to the addition of 5 talents with reputation rating. Thinking of this, Zhou was even more satisfied. The title of the Glory of the Pioneer was displaying more and more astonishing effects as its grade continued to increase. He had to be the first to win the next Glory of the Pioneer V. There will be another reputation rating talent joining my territory tomorrow. I wonder what kind of reputation rating talent he would be. Zhou was filled with anticipation. Chapter 405 Upgrade Requirements for the Gate of Summoning. Then, Zhou opened the Supreme Treasure Chest. Inside the treasure chest was a small golden bottle, and inside the bottle was a familiar golden elixir. Isn't this the Calamity Crossing pill? Zhou raised his eyebrows. The last time he obtained this Calamity Crossing pill, it directly raised his Nazario's strength to the Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade. He still remembered this clearly. He did not expect to get another one this time. However, when he saw the specific effect of this Calamity Crossing Spirit pill, he realized that this Calamity Crossing Spirit pill was actually a little different from the one he had obtained previously. Treasure Name: Calamity Crossing Spirit Pill, Lord Only Edition. Treasure Grade: Diamond Tier Advanced Grade. Treasure Effect 1. After the Lord of all races absorbs it, his strength will immediately reach the level of White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Treasure Effect 2. After the Lord of all races consumes this pill, the promotion energy needed to increase his strength will be reduced by 90%. This effect will last until the Lord's strength reaches Diamond Tier Advanced Grade. Treasure Description: A cultivation medicinal pill created by the Immortal Dao Civilization's True Immortal Calamity Crossing. It has the advantage of greatly increasing one's strength realm by forcefully raising it to a specific realm without leaving any future cultivation problems. It is a pill that is exclusive to the Lord to be consumed. A Calamity Crossing Spirit pill exclusive to the Lord of all races? Zhou was a little surprised. A smile then appeared on his face. While he hoped to obtain pills that could increase the strength of his subordinates, as a lord, he rarely appeared on the battlefield. Strength was very important to him, but it was not to the extent that he urgently needed to increase his strength. Nonetheless, no matter what, it was always a good thing to be able to increase his strength. Not to mention that not only would his strength increase to White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade, the promotion energy needed to increase his strength would also become 10% after consuming it. This meant that his path from White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade to Diamond Tier Advanced Grade would become a smooth one. Good stuff. Zhou did not hesitate. He took out the stopper and took out the Calamity Crossing Spirit Pill, Lord's Only Edition, before consuming it. Rumble. After Zhou swallowed this Calamity Crossing Pill, Lord's Only Edition, he felt the pill melt in his mouth. It carried a bitter taste, and instantly turned into majestic gentle energy that surged towards his heart. Then, this majestic promotion energy circulated through his heart, and surged into his limbs, bones and soul, crazily increasing the strength of his physical body and soul. As a lord, Zhou needed a huge amount of promotional energy to advance his realm. Coupled with his chaos human physique, and the various race talents and bloodline abilities he had grasped, his need for promotion energy had reached an incomparably shocking level. It could be said that among all the lords of Cerulean Planet, Zhou's demand for energy for advancement was the greatest. It could even be more than 10 times greater than the second place. However, even though he needed so much promotional energy, it seemed to be insignificant in front of this magical Calamity Crossing Spirit Pill. No matter how much promotion energy Zhou needed, this pill could be supplied continuously. It did not look weak at all. Under such circumstances, Zhou's strength and realm began to increase rapidly. White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade, White Platinum Tier Intermediate Grade, White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. At this moment, the Calamity Crossing Pill, Lord-Only version, was still providing promotion energy crazily. It only stopped when he was only 10% away from breaking through to the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade. Zhou slowly opened his eyes. A chaotic light flashed in the depths of his eyes before disappearing. Soon, he sensed the pressure emanating from his body and the Dragon Slayer King's will. However, he retracted all of them with a thought, making him look like an extremely handsome ordinary man. How magical! My strength has clearly advanced by leaps and bounds to this extent, but I feel that I can completely control the promotion energy in my body, just like an old man who has been stuck at the White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade for decades, or even hundreds of years. The treasures that came out of the Supreme Treasure Chest had never disappointed him. Then, he sensed the promotional energy in his body, and a strange expression appeared on his face. So this is how it reduces the energy of advancement by 90%. In that case, before my strength increases to Diamond Tier Advanced Grade in the future, after I break through every small realm, I will be given 90% of the promotion energy of my original strength realm. Then, I only need to gather the remaining 10% of the promotion energy to increase my strength? Not bad. It's simple and crude. I like it. Zhou was satisfied. Then he temporarily did not look at the other rewards. Instead, he took out a skill book of various levels that he had prepared long ago from his spatial ring. Then, he took out a White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade skill book and replaced all the Gold Intermediate Grade skills in his skill list with White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade skills. Looking at his updated skill list, Zhou smiled. He felt that he had more confidence in surviving in this world. White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade. Hundreds of White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade skills. Now he could be considered a low-level expert in this world. Then, he began to look at the information of the new building Elemental Spirit Array. He realized that it was indeed as he had felt. It could provide a blessed land-level cultivation environment for a lord who lived in a beginner-grade lord's paradise. In the Essence Spirit Array, not only could it provide various elemental energy to a lord, but it could also provide life force, spiritual energy, soul energy and promotion energy. In such an environment, a lord could greatly increase the strength of his body and soul, and finally reach the goal of increasing his strength. It seems that after the lord's territory developed to the White Platinum Tier level, the Supreme will begin to pay attention to the increase in the lord's personal strength. Many thoughts flashed through Zhou's mind. Then, he did not think too much about it, and looked at the requirements for the territory to continue leveling up. Construction upgrade. 100 million units of wood, 100 million units of fine sand, 100 million units of metal, 100 million units of stone, 100 White Platinum Tier Mist Core, 1,000 Origin Crystals, 10,000 units of Basic Elemental Gems, 1,000 Advanced Elemental Gems, 1 White Platinum Tier City, 10 white platinum tier lifestyle professionals, 100 white platinum tier military professionals, 1 white platinum tier territory token. Zhou raised his eyebrows. When the territory level reached the white platinum tier, there were actually so many requirements to level up. Not only did he need basic materials, origin crystals, mist core and territory tokens, they even needed high-level elemental gems. They also had requirements for the number of lifestyle professionals and military professionals. Zhou thought about it and realized that his other requirements could be met, especially in terms of basic elemental gems. He had just obtained a medium-sized basic elemental gem mine that contained 5 million units today. It had already been placed in the territory for R2 to lead its Ox Demon subjects and other Blazing Sun City subjects to mine. He should not be lacking in basic elemental gems for a long time, which meant he only had high-level elemental gems now and could not meet the leveling requirements for the time being. There were 3 types of high-level elemental gems. They were Thunder Element Gems, Life Element Gems, and Death Element Gems. He did not have to worry about the Thunder Element Gems. This was because the violent storm demon spirit in his monster ranch could produce more than 10,000 Thunder Element Gems every day. However, Zhou had never come into contact with the Life Elemental Gem and the Death Elemental Gem. Zhou scratched his head. He originally thought that since his strength had increased so much, and he had so many high-level territory tokens, it should be a simple matter to increase the level of his territory. He did not expect twists and turns again. Zhou frowned. Chapter 406 Talent Danger Prediction. There were suddenly so many upgrade requirements for the White Platinum tier territory. It would probably start asking for Divine Kingdom tier upgrade materials when he reached the Epic tier, Legendary tier, or even the Divine Kingdom level. It seemed that he had to pay more attention to high-level materials in the future and prepare for the upgrade of his territory in the future. Then, he thought for a moment and opened the marketplace to set up a transaction to buy Life Elemental Gems and Death Elemental Gems. Now, it was time to see if the lords of the Cerulean planet could give him some surprises. There were lords all over the Cerulean planet. Perhaps some lucky lords would be able to encounter high-level elemental gems. In addition, it was already late, and it was not convenient for him to go out. Tomorrow, he could go to the Aurora Kingdom again and ask King Li Yuangan if he had any Life Elemental Gems and Death Elemental Gems. Even though the huge Aurora Kingdom was on the verge of destruction, there should be a high chance of obtaining some high-level elemental gems. After that, he came to the Gate of Summoning and spent 6 million units of basic materials and 6,000 yellow gold tier mist cores to upgrade it to the White Platinum tier elementary grade. Congratulations! Your Gate of Summoning has successfully been upgraded to a White Platinum tier elementary grade building. You can summon plus 100 subjects every day. You will summon 50 professionals from the subjects every day. Prompt. Under the influence of the unique title of the race, Glory of the Pioneer V, you can summon 1,425 subjects every day. You will summon 55 professionals every day. Moreover, 5 of the professionals will have the same level as your territory. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. The number of subjects that the Gate of Summoning could summon was also becoming more and more exaggerated under the enhancement of Glory of the Pioneer V. He was getting more and more satisfied with the benefits of being the number 1 lord of the Cerulean planet. After that, he returned to the side of the beginner-grade lord's paradise and walked to the lord's shop. At this moment, Zhou Qingmin was knitting a sweater with a smile on his face, as if he was looking forward to what the sweater would look like after it was knitted. Old Zhou, have my merchandise arrived? Zhou Qingmin was stunned for a moment before he came back to his senses. Yes, they're here. He put down his sweater with a smile and stood up. He went to the counter and took out a jade box from under the counter. Then he opened the box. Inside was a purple crystal that contained his talent. My lord, what do you think? Old Zhou asked. Zhou did not say anything. He picked up the purple crystal and looked at the item information. It was Xiao Xian's talent crystal danger prediction. Talent. Danger prediction. Talent effect. This creature has a certain chance of sensing danger before it descends and avoiding disaster. Zhou looked at the talent crystal, and his heart burned. The effect of this talent could be said to be vividly displayed by Xiao Xian in today's final battlefield. It could be said that with this talent, as long as Zhou did not take the initiative to court death, it would be very difficult for him to encounter any danger. Even if danger suddenly appeared, he could use danger prediction to obtain a certain preemptive reaction time. Zhou was not very interested in enhancement products, but he really liked such life-saving products from the bottom of his heart. How much? Zhou asked. 10 legendary tier mist cores, and a low-tier deity-level territory token. Of course, my lord can also give me 20 legendary tier mist cores directly. Old Zhou smiled. A pained expression flashed across Zhou's face. It was a good talent, but it was really expensive. Can it be cheaper? Zhou could not help but ask. No. Old Zhou shook his head without hesitation. Zhou Qinglin changed the topic, just as he was feeling a little disappointed. However, discount cards might appear amongst the products that appear in the Lord shop in the future. If the Lord is lucky enough to encounter a discount card, he can buy it. At that time, if he encounters expensive products, he can buy them at a lower price. Was it similar to the specified subject commodity card? Zhou thought. He nodded and took out 20 legendary tier mist cores from the heavenly mist treasure bag and handed them to the other party. Then, after bidding farewell to Zhou Qingmin, he returned to his beginner-grade lord's paradise. On the way, Zhou could not help but feel his heart ache. That was a total of 20 legendary tier mist cores. Even top-notch lords with the heritage of their race might not have 20 legendary tier mist cores at this stage. What more the current lords of the cerulean planet? He had spent it just like that. It might be worth it, but Zhou could still feel the pain. I have to find other ways to make up for it, Zhou thought. Then, he opened the marketplace and set up a transaction. He took 3 million skill books and another 3 million equipment from his gains in the final battlefield today, and threw them onto the market. His territory and the Star Alliance could not digest these skill books and equipment for the time being. In that case, he might as well throw them into the marketplace to prepare the funds for the goods in the Lord shop tomorrow. After some thought, he called over a starry night and boarded it. Welcome, my lord, Wunya said respectfully as soon as Zhou boarded the ship. Wunya, do you remember what I told you before about mass-producing the spacecraft? Zhou went straight to the point. I remember. Wunya has already started working on it. Wunya immediately replied. How's it going? Wunya has already discussed with Vice City Lord Zheng. We will begin to purchase the materials to build the spaceship factory at the marketplace through Linger and Nong Qinglin. After the material acquisition is completed, Wunya can build the spaceship factory immediately and start mass-producing Starry Night or Black Ghost. Zhou nodded. He was looking forward to it. With a large number of Starry Nights, Blazing Sun Territory's military, life, business, and other developments would definitely be improved by leaps and bounds. In the warehouse are the remains of the Chaos Energy Air-Drop Gun Carriage and modern firearms from our cerulean planet. You have to do research at the same time and strive to let Blazing Sun Territory create it alone as soon as possible. Zhou said. He had come to look for Wunya to discuss this matter. Starry Night had the function of an extraordinary tier advanced grade research institute. Generally speaking, Starry Night could replicate technology below the extraordinary tier advanced grade through research. Yes, my lord, Wunya said respectfully. Zhou nodded and chatted with Wunya for a while before flying off the spaceship. Beginner grade Lord's Paradise. At this moment, Zhou was cultivating Violet Cloud True Gust in the martial arts area of the gym. At this moment Aaliyah hurried over. Reporting to my lord. The deputy commander of the Starfire mercenary team, Zhang Lansheng, requests an audience. They said that they have information about the Aurora Kingdom and the Taiyan Kingdom to report. Aaliyah said respectfully, let him enter. Zhou said calmly as he focused on circulating the Violet Cloud True Gust in his body. Yes, my lord. Aaliyah nodded, then turned and left. Chapter 407 News about Taiyan Kingdom and Aurora Kingdom. Zhou circulated the violet cloud true gust in his body. The promotional energy gathered by the essence spirit array around him continuously surged into his body, causing his strength and realm to begin to increase at a visible speed. Previously, Zhou had not felt it clearly, because he had leveled up his territory outside the beginner-grade Lord's Paradise. Now that he had returned to the martial arts area, that was specially used for martial arts cultivation in this blessed land, he immediately realized that this seemed to be the place with the richest promotion energy in the origin spirit array. At the very least, he had felt 10 times or more of the advancement energy outside the beginner-grade Lord's Paradise. Originally, with the help of the Calamity Crossing Pill Lord exclusive version, he was only a step away from Diamond Tier Elementary Grade. Coupled with the blessing of the War God and the shocking enhancement of this Essence Spirit Array, he felt that he would probably be able to break through to Diamond Tier Elementary Grade tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow. At the thought of this, Zhou felt a little strange. He had experienced the pain of his Lord's strength increasing slowly too many times. This was the first time his strength had increased so quickly. He felt that it was unreal. However, he knew that this was normal, so he naturally wouldn't really worry. At this moment, Zhang Lanxing was led to Zhou by Elia. "Greetings, my lord," Zhang Lanxing said respectfully. He looked at Zhou and was secretly shocked. At this moment, Zhou's entire body was covered in a dense purple mist. In the mist, Zhou's immortal-like face could be vaguely seen, as if his lord was an immortal from the sky. Unknowingly, Zhang Lanxing was subconsciously impressed by this scene. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that the lord he followed was the most worthy person in the world. Compared to his lord, the other lords he had seen were simply a troll. "How's the situation in the Aurora Kingdom and the Taiyan Kingdom?" Zhou opened his eyes and asked. "Reporting to my lord. According to our investigation, ever since the king of the Aurora Kingdom, Li Yuangan, secretly spread the news that the Aurora Kingdom was attacked by the Taiyan Kingdom to the Netherbark Kingdom and the Titan Kingdom, the Titan Kingdom immediately launched an attack on the Taiyan Kingdom. The Titan Kingdom's army has already invaded the territory of the Taiyan Kingdom and has begun to fight the 600,000 monster army that the Taiyan Kingdom has returned to defend. Now, the Taiyan Kingdom only has 800,000 soldiers left in the Aurora Kingdom. Even though this still gives the Aurora Kingdom a lot of pressure, compared to before, the pressure has been greatly reduced." Zhang Lanxing said. "What about the Netherbark Kingdom?" Zhou raised his eyebrows. In the Netherbark Kingdom, the new and old popes are currently being replaced. For this reason, they are currently preparing for the God's bestowment ceremony in the country, so all battle activities have temporarily stopped. Even though some cardinals wanted to postpone the God-bestowing ceremony and prioritize dealing with the Taiyan Kingdom after they learned of the Taiyan Kingdom's attack, this opinion was not approved by the other cardinals. In the end, they still insisted on continuing the God-bestowing ceremony. Zhang Lanxing was obviously prepared for this information. After hearing Zhou's question, he answered without hesitation. This was different from what he had expected. But fortunately they didn't deploy all the Taiyan Kingdom's soldiers back to the Aurora Kingdom, even though it was different from what he expected. That also relieved the pressure of the Aurora Kingdom's war. It shouldn't be a problem to hold on for another day or two. Moreover, Zhou was deep in thought. There were only 800,000 Taiyan soldiers left in the Aurora Kingdom. With his current military strength, he might be able to give the Aurora Kingdom a try. Well done. How many members do you have in the Starfire mercenary team now? What's your current range of operations? Zhou asked. Reporting to my lord. Currently, the Starfire mercenary team has already developed to the size of more than 4,000 people. We have also developed some of the territory of the Underworld Bark Kingdom apart from the Aurora Kingdom's territory. As for the Taiyan Kingdom and the Titan Kingdom, due to the extreme aggro of the subjects in their territory, we have temporarily set up some relatively remote adventurer team bases in these two kingdoms. We have also arranged for about 500 people to secretly investigate the information in their countries. As for the further areas, we only heard that there is a flame spirit kingdom east of the Netherbark Kingdom. It's said that that place is ruled by the volcanic elves. We haven't sent any adventurer team members there to establish a base and investigate the local information, due to the distance and the harsh environment. Zhang Lanxing said respectfully. Zhou acknowledged. He hadn't bothered about the Starfire mercenary team for a long time. He was already very satisfied with such results. It's developing well. However, we still have to work harder and achieve more results. Our territory is developing very quickly, so we need more information to pave our future development path in time, to prevent us from taking the wrong path in the future. In this regard, the Heavenly Army and the Starfire mercenary team must bear this responsibility. Before you leave later, you can go to Vice City Lord Zheng and apply for 5,000 copies of the Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificate and 10,000 White Platinum Tier Mist Cores. These are the rewards for your development during this period of time, as well as the development funds for the Starfire mercenary team in the future. I want you to expand the Starfire mercenary team to 50,000 members as soon as possible within a month. If you need the support of Class Change Certificate, funds, equipment, manpower, experts, and other aspects, you can apply to Vice City Lord Zheng with your contributions. As long as you continuously produce results, the territory will be able to provide unlimited support for the development needs of your Starfire mercenary team. Zhou said. Yes, my lord. Our Starfire mercenary team will not disappoint you, my lord. When Zhang Lanxing heard Zhou's words, he was instantly excited. 5,000 Violent Storm Spirit Class Change Certificates. 10,000 White Platinum Tier Mist Cores. With so many Kingdom-level Class Change Certificates and funds, the Starfire mercenary team was confident that they could become the #1 adventurer team in the Aurora Kingdom in a short period of time. Not to mention the promise that the Lord said he could support infinitely. Unlimited support. Just by listening, Zhang Lanxing could tell that these words contained a rich and imposing aura. Towards this, Zhang Lanxing felt that it was great to have such a rich boss. After that, Zhou and Zhang Lanxing chatted more about the Starfire mercenary team, before Zhang Lanxing bade farewell and left. Zhou did not continue cultivating the Violet Cloud True Gust after he left. Instead, he called Aaliyah and her sister over. Aaliyah, Atli, call Mugu, Zheng Fuguei and Carol Moeli over. Zhou said. Yes, my lord. The two sisters respectfully accepted the order and turned to leave. Chapter 408 Improvement on the Lore Talent. A moment later, Mugu, Zheng Fuguei, and Carol Moeli were brought to Zhou. Greetings, my lord. The three of them said respectfully. Tell me about your improvements. Zhou went straight to the point. The three of them looked at each other. Then, Mugu stood up and said respectfully. Reporting to my lord, after my territory advanced to the White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade, my strength also increased to the White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. My various skills also increased to the White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Moreover, the number of monster ranches that he could manage had already reached 13. The maximum capacity of each monster ranch has also increased from 3,500 to 5,000. The upper limit of the monsters that can be nurtured has also increased to the White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Zhou nodded. Build the 2 monster ranches first. These 2 new monster ranches will be used to nurture the Violent Storm Demon Spirits, before we manage to find a suitable cultivation target. He said. Zhou had also become picky, since the appearance of a monster like the Violent Storm Demon Spirit, that could drop Kingdom-level combat class. This is also because Zhou had killed many fog monsters, and seen thousands of spoils of war. He no longer cared about the drops of ordinary monsters. Only those fog monsters that could drop extremely valuable loots, or those that could drop kingdom level, or even higher soldier types could catch his eye. Therefore, during this period of time, most of his monster ranch was used to nurture the Violent Storm Demon Spirit, without adding new fog monsters. Still, Zhou suddenly had a new idea with the establishment of the Star Alliance. With the spatial teleportation array that could connect the various main territories, he could order the members of the Alliance to hunt the fog monsters around their territory and send them to him. Then he could obtain a large number of samples of monster loots. When the time comes, he could take advantage of it and use the monster ranches to nurture them. This was much more convenient than him trying his luck to choose monsters from the monster ranches alone. However, he did not do this immediately. Instead, he continued to listen to the reports of the three people in front of him. After Mugu finished his report, he automatically retreated. Then, Zheng Fugui stood up with a smile. Reporting to my lord, the number of mysterious vendors in our mysterious caravan has now increased from 250 to 500. All the mysterious merchants' abilities have been upgraded to white platinum tier elementary grade. The number of our carriages has also increased from 150 to 300. In addition, each of us was given a mysterious business ring with a storage space of 10,000 cubic meters by the Supreme Will. It can be used to transport a large number of goods. This is the entire improvement of our mysterious caravan. Zhou clicked his tongue. It was personally bestowed by the Supreme Will, who wouldn't be confused by this background. Furthermore, the advancement of the mysterious caravan was within his expectations. In the end, every mysterious merchant obtained a spatial ring that was 10,000 cubic meters. He was very envious. His Emperor of Sand's spatial ring was only 500 cubic meters. The storage volume of any mysterious merchant's mysterious merchant ring was 20 times the size of his spatial ring. At the thought of this, Zhou hesitated. With that, he even took the initiative to take off the mysterious business ring on his thumb. Zhou couldn't help but take a look. In the end, he realized that this mysterious business ring was like a big thumb ring. Its entire body was black and gold, emitting a faint black and gold light, highlighting the aura of a rich man. At the same time, since it's given to you by the Supreme Will, use it well. We still have enough power in our territory. Zhou cleared his throat. This old fellow, how did he know what he wanted to say at a glance? Zheng Fugui smiled and nodded before retreating. Carol Moeli walked to Zhou in a gorgeous red robe with white edges and a red high hat. Reporting to my lord, after our territory was upgraded to the white platinum tier elementary grade, the shelter of the goddess of life also upgraded to the white platinum tier elementary grade. We now have 50 clergymen, 50 priests, 100 nuns, and 100 life paladins in the shelter. In addition, the strength of all the clergymen has also increased to the white platinum tier elementary grade. And my strength has also increased from diamond tier intermediate grade to extraordinary tier elementary grade. Zhou's eyes lit up. The shelter of the goddess of life had received an astonishing improvement. There were a total of 5,000 white platinum tier professionals. Even if they did not do anything, just camping in the territory could make him confident enough to go out and fight without worrying about any accidents in the territory. Not to mention that Carol Moeli had also advanced to extraordinary tier elementary grade. This not only greatly increased her strength, this also meant that if Zhou could obtain Holy Spirit level faith divine crystals in the future, he would be able to resurrect heroes who were extraordinary tier elementary grade when they were alive. Thinking of heroes, Zhou naturally still remembered that he had 2 hero inheritances that he had yet to use. One was the heroic inheritance of the Ghost God General. This inheritance was already placed in the military merit exchange system. If a soldier's military merit reached 100,000 points, they could directly exchange for it. The candidates should probably be out within a day or two. The second was an extraordinary tier heroic spirit inheritance slot at the Night Temple. Zhou already had a rough idea of the candidates for this spot. After that, he chatted with Mugu, Zheng Fugui, and Carol Moeli for a while before the 3 of them left. After the 3 of them left, Zhou opened the Star Alliance's chat group and posted that he wanted the corpses of various races and fog monsters near their territory. Lord of the Blazing Sun. All lords can come to Blazing Sun City to collect the golden corpse water used to preserve corpses. In addition, after the corpses of the various fog-like monsters found by the lords are sent to me, you can receive Miss Cores as a reward. Lord of the Blazing Sun. If the monster's corpse is more valuable to me, I will give you an additional reward. This was the first time the lords had received a quest from the Star Alliance. Furthermore, This quest was not difficult, and there were rewards, so they did not resist and agreed readily. When Zhou saw this, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. It was indeed much more convenient and efficient to have many lord subordinates helping him. At this moment, a notification came from the marketplace. It was because the deal he had announced earlier had been completed. Already, Zhou raised his eyebrows in surprise. That was a total of 3 million skill books and 3 million pieces of equipment. How long had it been? All of them had already been sold. Zhou thought for a moment. The final battlefield must have given the lords of Cerulean Planet a sense of urgency, so they wanted to make the best use of their time to increase the strength of their territory. That was why all his goods were sold so quickly. He stopped thinking about it and opened the transaction results. Zhou's eyes widened. Trade result: 12,599,651,240 black iron tier mist cores. Chapter 409 Green Phoenix Lord's Territory. The results of the lords using insight defection. Zhou could not help but rub his eyes. He looked at it a few more times to confirm that it wasn't wrong. More than 12.5 billion black iron tier mist cores. It would be a total of 125 legendary tier mist cores if he were to transform all of them into legendary tier mist cores. Awesome! Zhou was elated. Great! He should have the financial resources to buy the goods in the Lord's shop in the next few days, if nothing went wrong. At this moment, Aaliyah walked over again. My lord. Legion Commander Bai Yun and Vice City Lord Zheng Yuanqi request an audience. Let them in. Zhou came back to his senses and nodded. Yes, Aaliyah said respectfully, then turned around and left. Soon, Bai Yun and Zheng Yuanqi came to Zhou together. Greetings, my lord. X2 the two of them said respectfully and led the way. Now that Zheng Yuanqi had consumed the blood honey king cake, his appearance and condition had completely returned to their peak. Zhou realized that the other party's mental state was clearly different from before. He was like a wise man who had experienced the vicissitudes of life, but was filled with calmness and hope for the future. Reporting to my lord. I've already done my research on the city information of Green Phoenix City. This is the specific situation, my lord. Please take a look. After saying that, Zheng Yuanqi handed a document to Zhou. Zhou took it and looked at it. A moment later, he frowned slightly. This document recorded the development of the Green Phoenix City. Just as the Green Phoenix Lord had told him before, her territory indeed only had 412 combat-type professionals, and there were only 32 life profession subjects. There were a lot of professional subjects, a total of 13,241. After Zhou finished reading, there was only one thought in his mind. Ridiculous. This Green Phoenix Lord really relied on his own strength to forcefully hold up the entire Green Phoenix City. With this strength, to put it bluntly, it was a little difficult to survive the Novice Lord test back then. However, it had actually existed until now. Other than this information, Zhou also saw a message. In the northeast of the Green Phoenix Lord, there was actually an Empire-level Lord faction. This empire was called the Blood Hidden Empire. It was actually an empire established by the vampires. It's actually an empire faction of vampires. Zhou raised his eyebrows. The bloodline that his chaos humans had absorbed still contained a vampire Viscount bloodline. If I have time in the future, I can make a trip to this vampire empire to improve my vampire bloodline and chaos human bloodline. Zhou thought. My lord, when I went to Green Phoenix City today, I discovered that some of the subjects in Green Phoenix City seem to be used to the protection of the Green Phoenix Lord and don't have much thoughts of working hard. How are we going to treat these subjects of Green Phoenix City? Zheng Yuanqi asked. Tell those subjects that our Blazing Sun territory doesn't raise idlers. Other than the old, weak, sick and disabled subjects, or families with only one strong man left, if the other Green Phoenix City subjects are willing to become combat-type professionals, we can provide them with class change certificates for combat-type classes below the kingdom level for free, so that they can successfully become professionals. The other subjects who are unwilling to go to the battlefield can help the lifestyle professionals. Zhou said. It was impossible to raise idlers. This was not a peaceful era without war. Without the oppression of war, people could freely choose their own way of life. This high continent was filled with war. Danger was everywhere. Either you kill me or I kill you. Even Zhou was not sure if he could survive the next day. Therefore, when he protected the subjects of Green Phoenix City, he would naturally ask them to contribute to him. This was what he had told his first batch of subjects when he built Blazing Sun City. This was also the common rule of the lords in the high continent. No lord would raise an idler. No subject would think that this rule was wrong. After all, compared to work, it was better than losing his life on the battlefield. Furthermore, Zhou felt that his soldiers and subjects were already treated quite well. Especially the soldiers. Not only was there a military merit exchange system with rich rewards, furthermore, because of the military formation and the clergymen in the shelter, Zhou's soldiers had not had a death record for a long time. Even if the soldiers were injured on the battlefield, they could quickly be treated by potions, doctors or clerics. And all the fees were provided free of charge by the territory. Coupled with the blessing of the war god, it could be said that as his soldier, there was no danger at all. Going to the battlefield was to increase one's strength and obtain military merits. Zhou felt that the treatment of his soldiers could not be said to be the best among the endless lords in the high continent, but it should be one of the best. If the subjects of other countries knew about the treatment of the Blazing Sun Territory soldiers, they would probably cry and beg to come. Yes, my lord, Zheng Yuanqi said calmly. Clearly, he also approved of Zhou's handling of the matter. Then, he chatted with Zhou for a while more before turning around to leave. My lord, I've just led the soldiers to the Triumphal Arch. Moreover, the Lords of the Star Alliance have already brought over 20% of the soldiers after the Insight defection. I've already integrated them into the monster army. Bai Yin reported respectfully. Then, she took out 2 lists and handed them to Zhou. Zhou took it and read it. The first was about the results of the Insight defection of the Lords of the Star Alliance. These 311 lords who had mastered Insight defection had brought back a total of 97,532 fog monsters for his Insight defection. Moreover, more than 40,000 of the monster soldiers were 20% of the troops that the 30 to 40 lords had brought back from the Insight defection on the final battlefield. The remaining 200 lords added up to only 50,000 monster soldiers who had Insight defection. Zhou was not surprised by this number. The lord factions of these lord members were relatively weak after all. The strongest enemy factions they could come into contact with were mostly Black Iron Tier and Green Bronze Tier Scarlet Lord factions. The forces of the Scarlet Lords were at most 5,000 to 6,000. The members of the Lords could only instigate 400 to 500 Insight defections and 500 to 600 fog monsters. If he took out 20% of the monsters that had been turned around and handed it to him, it would only be 100 to 200 yuan. With that in mind, 97,532 fog monsters was already a good harvest. Furthermore, this harvest was very easy. He just had to wait for the alliance members to deliver themselves to his door every day. Most importantly, as the alliance masters' strength increased, the enemies they faced would also become stronger and stronger. The number of soldiers who would turn the tables would also increase, and the number of subordinates he would obtain would also increase. Thinking of this beautiful future, Zhou could not help but look forward to it. Chapter 410 Diamond Tier Elementary Grade. Impatient Lords. Then, Zhou looked at the next report. This was the report list of the soldiers' increase in strength after using the Triumphal Arch. He now had a total of 619,952 soldiers. After passing through the Triumphal Arch, the strength of more than 110,000 soldiers had increased. Therefore, Zhou's Blazing Sun Army and the Monster Army had a total of 43,202 Black Iron Tier soldiers. There were 241,529 Green Bronze Tier soldiers, 142,825 of White Silver Tier, 131,250 of Yellow Gold Tier, 59,633 of White Platinum Tier, 1513 of Diamond Tier. 6 Extraordinary Tier. A smile appeared on Zhou face. The triumphal arch was indeed a good thing. Then, he suddenly thought of something, and suddenly opened the attribute panel of the triumphal arch. His gaze landed on its architectural effect. Construction blueprint effect, triumph glory. When the Lord and his military professionals subject return victorious, after the war, and pass through the triumphal arch. If the promotion energy in the Lord and his military professionals subject has already accumulated to more than 80%, there is a 50% chance of directly obtaining the promotion energy that is lacking and directly obtaining a breakthrough in strength realm. The promotion energy in my body has reached 90%. Can I use this triumphal arch to directly make up for my remaining 10%? Zhou couldn't help but think after seeing the effect of the triumph glory. He did not think for long. He called Bai Yun and left the beginner grade Lord's Paradise. Arriving at the triumphal arch, Zhou looked at the holy triumphal arch in front of him, took a deep breath, and walked over. The moment he walked to the triumphal arch suddenly lit up with golden light. Then, a gentle energy suddenly surged into his body from all directions and entered his heart. Then, with his heart as the center of operation, it surged into his limbs and bones, strengthening his body and soul strength. Soon, boom, a comfortable feeling surged into Zhou's heart, as if he had broken through a bottleneck. Diamond Tier Elementary Grade. With the help of the triumphal arch, he broke through the bottleneck of the White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade, and reached the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade. Zhou was delighted. He actually did it. This was not the end. After the triumphal arch assisted him in advancing to Diamond Tier Elementary Grade, it stopped providing him with promotion energy. However, at this moment, the medicinal power of the Calamity Crossing Spirit Pill hidden in various parts of Zhou's body seemed to sense that Zhou had advanced. It immediately turned into majestic promotion energy that surged into various parts of his body and soul, strengthening his physical and soul strength again. Zhou closed his eyes and accepted the enhancement of the energy. A moment later, when he felt that the promotion energy in his body had reached 90% again, this strengthening gradually stopped. Zhou opened his eyes. A smile appeared on his face as he sensed the astonishing power of the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade in his body. In less than 2 hours, his strength had increased from Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade straight to Diamond Tier Elementary Grade. If others heard this, they would probably think that it was a fantasy. However, it really happened to him. It was unbelievable just thinking about it. Then, Zhou looked up at the triumphal arch. A moment later, Zhou felt that it was a pity that the triumphal arch did not send any more promotional energy to improve himself. It seemed that he could only win another battle tomorrow, and then return to continue improving his strength through the triumphal arch. While there was only a 50% chance that this kind of triumphal arch enhancement would happen, however, if he was lucky, his strength could break through to Diamond Tier Advanced Grade in a few days. At this moment, Bai Yun, who had been watching from the side the entire time, was completely stunned. She clearly remembered that her lord was only at Yellow Gold Tier Advanced Grade in the final battlefield. She did not expect her lord's strength had broken through to White Platinum Tier Advanced Grade when she returned to the territory. Now he had actually advanced again, and directly broke through to the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade. She was in a daze. What kind of godly improvement was this? However, it was a good thing that her lord's strength had increased. She did not give it too much thought even though she was shocked. Zhou saw the expression on Bai Yun's face when he walked from the triumphal arch to her side. He smiled and did not explain. After saying a few simple words to her, he returned to his beginner grade Lord's Paradise. Zhou took out a set of Diamond Tier Elementary Grade skill books and learnt them. When he saw the updated skill list, a smile appeared on his face. It felt so good to increase his strength. Zhou took a look at the transaction he had posted on the marketplace before he went to bed. He discovered that he had bought 103 Life Elemental Gems and 14 Death Elemental Gems, which spent a total of 117 Yellow Gold Tier Mist cores. Zhou shook his head. It seemed that he still had to make a trip to the Aurora Kingdom tomorrow to ask about these 2 elemental gems. After that he went to bed to rest. The next day, 4 o'clock in the morning, Zhou woke up on time. It was not time to summon his clansmen yet, and the monsters in the monster ranches had not been completely nurtured. On the other hand, the World Channel and the Star Alliance chat group had already become lively. The Lords of the Star Alliance were especially energetic. Did you guys sleep last night? I didn't sleep last night. I was waiting to use Insight Defection again today. Me too. The Insight Defection last night was really satisfying. My territory directly turned around more than 1,000 monsters, including 4 yellow gold tier monster soldiers. All my soldiers added up to only more than 700. Using Insight Defection once had directly doubled my military strength. I'm envious. You probably instigated an Insight Defection on the final battlefield. It wasn't my turn at that time. When I returned, I could only instigate an Insight Defection on a green bronze tier Scarlet Lord's territory around my territory. In the end, I only instigated an Insight Defection on more than 200 monster soldiers. However, I'm also very satisfied. I tried them out last night. These monster soldiers are so fierce. They're not afraid of death at all when they fight, and they're very strong. Sob sob sob, it wasn't my turn yesterday. I wonder if it'll be my turn today. Is the Alliance Master sleeping now? I wonder when we'll go to the final battlefield again today. He should be resting. Zhou smiled when he saw the content of the chat. It seemed that after the Insight Defection, these lords began to be enthusiastic about going to the final battlefield. He began to type, Lord of the Blazing Sun, I have something to do. I'll bring you to the final battlefield after 7 o'clock. Don't be anxious. There will be an opportunity for Insight Defection. Long live the Alliance Master. Is the Alliance Master staying up late too? I hope it's my turn today. Zhou stopped looking. After closing the chat group, he boarded Starry Night with 10,000 white platinum tier soldiers, 500 diamond rank soldiers, 3 extraordinary tier soldiers, Bai Yin and Nazario, and flew straight to the Aurora Kingdom. Chapter 4:11 Titan Kingdoms Advanced Gem Resources in the Sky. One Starry Night was speeding towards the capital of the Aurora Kingdom. With Starry Night's current speed, it would only take half an hour at most to travel from Blazing Sun City to the capital of the Aurora Kingdom. In addition, he also wanted to see the current situation in the various regions of the Aurora Kingdom, so he did not use the spatial teleportation array to travel there. Still, when Zhou sat in the Starry Night's captain's cabin and looked at the situation of the Aurora Kingdom's territory on the virtual screen in front of him, he could not help but fall silent. The city buildings had turned into ruins. Countless corpses of Aurora Kingdom subjects littered the ground. Their deaths were tragic, causing one to feel a chill in their hearts. The closer he got to the capital of the Aurora Kingdom, the more such situations occurred. At the end, Zhou came to a conclusion that made his heart sink. Most of the cities and subjects in the Aurora Kingdom had probably perished in the war. At the same time, Bai Yin was also behind Zhou, looking at the virtual screen in front of him. While she couldn't bear to watch, she was also a little puzzled. I can understand why the Taiyan Kingdom chose to massacre the city. The Supreme Will and the Crimson Overlord have always been on opposing sides. It's almost impossible for them to coexist after all. But why did they destroy the city like this? Aren't they going to occupy this place? She asked doubtfully. To the fog monsters, some of the blueprint buildings could also be used. The Taiyan Kingdom's current war strategy should focus on speed. They want to take down the entire Aurora Kingdom as soon as possible. That's why they didn't pay attention to preserving the buildings in the city when they attacked. They should be a little anxious after being attacked by the Titan Kingdom, Zhou said. Bai Yin nodded in realization, but felt a little regretful instantly. In these destroyed cities, every city had a large number of life profession buildings and other types of blueprint buildings. These buildings are arguably the most valuable property in the city. Unexpectedly, it was destroyed just like that. Bai Yin shook her head and stopped thinking about it. A moment later, Aurora Kingdom King's city. When Zhou arrived, he saw a huge change in the scene. Not only were there fewer residents, most of the remaining residents also looked uneasy. More than half of the shops in the capital had been closed. It looked rather desolate. It was not as prosperous as the first time he came the day before yesterday. Zhou, Bai Yi, and the others were shocked when they saw this scene. He almost couldn't recognize that this was the capital of the Aurora Kingdom. It should be because the news of the Taiyan Kingdom's offensive had reached the capital that it became like this, right? Zhou thought. He pursed his lips and his gaze became firm. He wanted to grow stronger and not let this happen to his territory. He then asked Wuxia to stop the flying ship in a remote place and let everyone out. Then it was just like the last time he came. Nazario was responsible for patrolling the sky above the capital to protect himself. 10,000 white platinum-tier soldiers and 500 diamond-rank soldiers were hiding near the capital's gate, waiting for the signal to rush out at any time to protect them. Bai Yun and the 3 subordinates of the extraordinary tier elementary grade monsters followed him into the capital. The general guarding the capital had obviously received orders from his superiors. When he saw Zhou arrive, he immediately politely invited him and his subordinates to the palace for a meeting. Zhou and the others naturally did not refuse. They followed the guardian into the palace and saw Li Yuangan in a palace called the Heaven and Earth Palace. On the contrary, at this moment, he was not in a good mood facing the increasingly serious war situation in the country. However, when he saw Zhou, Bai Yi, and the others enter, he was stunned for a moment before a smile appeared on his face. Then he asked, "Lord of the Blazing Sun, how is my daughter?" "Leah is still asleep. I can't save her for the time being." Zhou shook his head. Holy Spirit tier faith divine crystals were not so easy to obtain. Even if he had the mythical tier, the only Lord talent, like the King of Lutes, he still had to rely on luck to obtain it. Li Yuangan's expression darkened when he heard that, but he didn't say anything. Instead he smiled and said, "It's fine. Just take it slow." Currently, Zhou was his only hope of saving his daughter. In addition, he knew that the other party really wanted to save his daughter, so he did not want to give the other party too much pressure. Zhou nodded and got down to business. "Your Majesty, we came here today mainly for 2 things. The first thing is the special method I used last time. I plan to do it again today." Li Yuangan's eyes lit up. He had not forgotten the magical incident where the other party had only raised his right hand and reduced the pressure of the attack they faced. "Second thing, I just want to ask if you have any life elemental gems and death elemental gems here." "I can buy them," Zhou said. "However, most of the gems were used to upgrade my territory. There's not much left." Li Yuangan only thought for a moment before giving an answer. "As long as you have it." Zhou's eyes lit up. Li Yuangan nodded and called an eunuch over. "Yuan Jia, go to the National Treasury and get all the remaining life elemental gems and death elemental gems." "Yes, Your Majesty." Eunuch Yuan Jia nodded and left respectfully. "Your Majesty, where did you get these life elemental gems and death elemental gems?" Zhou asked curiously while the other party was getting the gems. "This gemstone was plundered from the territory of our Aurora Kingdom during the war with the Titan Kingdom. Under the civilization of the Titan Kingdom's race, there are many rare minerals in the territory that they don't know how to use. As a result, they have wasted a large number of good resources. If it weren't for the fact that their physical talent was too outstanding and completely erased the previous combat strength gap between us, their Titan Kingdom would have long been divided up by the surrounding kingdom-level forces." Li Yuangan shook his head. "Are there no life elemental gems or death elemental gems elsewhere?" Zhou asked. "No." Li Yuangan shook his head without hesitation. The Aurora Kingdom had been standing in this region for hundreds of years. They could still give an affirmative answer to this matter. What if only the Titan Kingdom had the mineral resources of the life elemental gems and the death elemental gems? Wouldn't it be coveted by the surrounding kingdom-level forces? Zhou raised his eyebrows. The life elemental gems and the death elemental gems were important resources for the white platinum tier territory to continue leveling up. Any ambitious lord would not watch helplessly as these resources were right in front of them and not choose to obtain them. Chapter 412 Power Overlord Talent Owner, Zhengyu. It was like this at first. Li Yuangan nodded emotionally and agreed with Zhou. However, the Titan Kingdom is very strong. Their physical bodies are incomparably strong from birth, and their combat talent is extremely high. At its peak, it could even fight against the three kingdoms, Aurora Kingdom, Taiyan Kingdom, and Netherbark Kingdom. It even defeated three kingdoms. Even though the other party suffered heavy casualties in the end, the other party's powerful body and natural combat talent made us not dare to act rashly. Later on, our Aurora Kingdom and the Taiyan Kingdom had no other choice. In the end, we chose to fight head-on to plunder the high-level elemental gem resources in their territory. The Netherbark Kingdom chose to cooperate with the Titan Kingdom and obtain these two high-level elemental gem resources. Actually, the reason for our war is not only because of the high-level elemental gem resources. Apart from the hatred accumulated over hundreds of years of war, the Titan Kingdom itself is a race that loves to wage wars. In addition, they are born to love to devour the flesh and blood of life forms. Therefore, nearly 1 million human subjects are devoured and killed by the Titans every year in the border territories of the Aurora Kingdom. Anger flashed across Li Yuangan's eyes as he spoke. When he was young, he had once led troops out to fight. He had seen an extraordinary tier Titan hero with his own eyes. It devoured more than 100,000 people in an entire town with a single bite. That nightmare-like scene was something he could not forget for decades. After experiencing dozens of similar incidents of all sizes, he decided to make destroying the Titans his mission for the rest of his life. Thinking of this, a hint of self-deprecation flashed across his eyes. He could not even protect himself, yet he still wanted to destroy the other party? The most ridiculous thing was the reason why the pressure of the war on their side was relieved was all thanks to the Titan Kingdom's support. Fate really made fools of people. So that was how it was. Zhou was deep in thought. Li Yuangan's words outlined a strategic relationship map of the four kingdoms in his mind. It seemed that he would have to deal with this Titan Kingdom in the future in order to upgrade his territory. Zhou thought. At this moment, Eunuch Yuanjie came over. Your Majesty, these are all the life elemental gems and death elemental gems in the treasury. He said respectfully, give them all to the Lord of the Blazing Sun beside you. Li Yuangan said. Eunuch Yuanjie was stunned. Then, he silently handed a spatial ring to Zhou. Zhou took it and looked inside after recognizing it as his master. This was a spatial ring with 25 cubic meters. There was a small pile of green gems and a small pile of black gems inside. They were life elemental gems and the death elemental gems. Zhou counted and realized that there were 512 life elemental gems and 633 death elemental gems. Zhou was delighted at first, but then he thought of something and frowned slightly. The upgrade requirement for his territory was 1,000 high-level elemental gems each. There were naturally enough thunder element gems. However, the other two elemental gems were still not enough even with these. He opened the marketplace and looked at the transaction he had announced previously. After a night of acquisition, he had already bought 355 life elemental gems and 212 death elemental gems. I still need 133 life elemental gems and 155 death elemental gems. Zhou calculated in his heart and nodded. At this speed, he might be able to collect all the gem resources in the upgraded territory tonight or tomorrow morning. At that time, he could directly upgrade his territory. I can buy each of these high-level elemental gems with a white platinum tier mist core. Can your Majesty accept it? Zhou asked. Li Yuangan shook his head. You've done me and my kingdom a huge favor. What are some high-level elemental gems? If you need them, I'll give them all to you. Zhou was stunned. Then he agreed and did not refuse. After that, Zhou and the others did not chat with Li Yuangan about anything else. After knowing that the Aurora Kingdom's war was currently in a diamond-tier regional territory, the Mighty Kingdom, they brought everyone and used the spatial teleportation array to arrive at the Mighty Kingdom. Mighty Kingdom, spatial teleportation array. It was the Starry Night. Then, the hatch under the Starry Night opened, and a white light shone on the ground. Then Zhou Zhou, Bai Yun Li Yuangan, and the others flew down from the spaceship along with the white light. This is the first time I've been on a spaceship in my life. This should be a technological creation of the Machina race, right? After Li Yuangan landed steadily on the ground, he felt a little emotional and asked curiously, "Your Majesty, have you seen the technological creations of the Machina race before?" Zhou Zhou nodded and asked curiously, "I've seen some, but they're all low-end technology. They're not as advanced as your spaceship. As for the Machina race, I've never seen them before," Li Yuangan said. At this moment, a thin bald general with obvious muscles walked over. "Greetings, Your Majesty," he said respectfully. "And this is?" Zhou Zhou asked. "His name is Zhengyu. It's the city lord of the mighty kingdom, and one of the generals of my Aurora kingdom. He's not simple. He's the owner of our Aurora kingdom's strongest lord talent, the Power Overlord. The Power Overlord has a Diamond Tier Lord talent. As long as he trains it, his strength can constantly increase. Zhengyu became a lord as soon as he reached adulthood. More than 30 years have passed. He persists in training his strength every day. In terms of strength, even the 3 heroes of our Aurora kingdom can't compare to this boorish fellow." Li Yuangan smiled. Zhengyu did not say anything, and only scratched his bald head in embarrassment. "Call him City Lord Zheng." When Zhou Zhou heard this, he immediately smiled and extended his hand in a handshake. Zhengyu was stunned. However, even though he had never seen such etiquette before, he still tried to reach out and shake Zhou Zhou's hand. Zhou Zhou smiled. "Master Thief's robbery gloves. Activate." A virtual screen immediately appeared in front of Zhou Zhou. It displayed the various items that Zhengyu could steal, and the corresponding success rate. There was no doubt. The success rate was above 90%. Zhou Zhou scanned it briefly before his gaze landed on the other party's Diamond Tier Lord Talent fragment. He realized that there were a total of 4 Diamond Tier Lord Talent crystal fragments. There was nothing to say. He would steal it directly. After the theft was successful, Zhou Zhou smiled and retracted his hand. Awesome. Now, there were only 6 Diamond Tier Lord Talent crystal fragments left to upgrade the blessing of the war god. This is the etiquette of meeting friends from our hometown. I hope General Zheng doesn't mind. Zhou Zhou retracted his right hand and smiled as usual. Zhengyu did not feel like he had lost anything at all. He immediately shook his head and said, "Lord of the Blazing Sun, you're too kind. How can I mind? All right, let's get down to business. How's the battle going?" Li Yuangan interrupted. "Your Majesty, we just repelled a round of their offensive. According to the other party's attack habits, the next round of offensive will probably begin in half an hour." Li Yuangan and Zhou Zhou nodded, especially Zhou Zhou. "In half an hour? I wonder how many monster subordinates I can instigate using insight defection this time?" He was looking forward to it. Chapter 413 by Yun's Arrow 1. How are the immortal Xiaoyang and the Heavenly Light Knight? Li Yuangan asked. The Heavenly Light Knights are supervising the battle. As for immortal Xiaoyang, because previously, the Ice Soul Arrow Demon Wuxia appeared on the battlefield and wanted to slaughter our soldiers. Later on, immortal Xiaoyang and the Heavenly Light Knight attacked together to stop the other party. However, immortal Xiaoyang was injured by an arrow from the other party's sneak attack. However, it's only a medium-level injury, and his life is not in danger. However, immortal Xiaoyang shouldn't be able to enter the battlefield again for the time being. Zhengyu said, "Xiaoyang is injured? Where is he now?" Li Yuangan immediately asked anxiously. Immortal Xiaoyang and the Heavenly Light Knight were 2 of the 3 heroes of the Aurora Kingdom. There was also a hero called the Dark Spirit Mage, who was killed by the joint sneak attack of the other party's 3 Scarlet Heroes in a previous battle against the invasion of the Taiyan Kingdom. The death of the Dark Spirit Mage had already made Li Yuangan extremely sad. He did not expect to receive this news again. How could he not be anxious? Immortal Xiaoyang is resting in a temporary residence. I can bring His Majesty there, Zhengyu said. Li Yuangan nodded and was about to walk away when he suddenly thought of something. He looked at Zhou Zhou and asked, "Do you want to go with me?" I can introduce you to immortal Xiaoyang. Let's meet again next time. I still have something urgent to do. I'll leave immediately after using my methods here. Zhou Zhou shook his head. Li Yuangan shook his head regretfully. It was unknown if it was a pity that he did not bring Zhou Zhou to see immortal Xiaoyang, or if it was a pity that he could not see Zhou Zhou's magical methods again. Zheng Yu, you don't have to accompany me. Just find a trustworthy subordinate who knows the location and bring me there. As for you, accompany this Lord of the Blazing Sun first. As for military decisions, you will decide everything before I return. Li Yuangan said. Yes, Your Majesty. Zheng Yu nodded and sent someone to call over an adjutant and asked him to bring Li Yuangan to immortal Xiaoyang's residence. Lord of the Blazing Sun, what do you need? You can tell me whatever you want. There's nothing I can't do in the mighty kingdom. Zheng Yu patted his chest. Then follow me to the city wall to take a look. They should attack in half an hour. At that time, you can look at them however you want, Lord of the Blazing Sun. Even if you want to charge into the enemy army to take a look, I, Zheng Yu, can protect your life as long as the other party's hero doesn't appear. Zheng Yu said confidently. Thank you, General. Zhou Zhou smiled and nodded. Then Zhou Zhou and the others followed Zheng Yu to the city wall. Soon everyone arrived at the city wall. Everyone looked up and saw that the huge ground was filled with corpses. There were humans and fog monsters. The blood of both sides mixed together, making the current battlefield even more bloody. How's the enemy's strength now? Zhou Zhou asked calmly. Currently, the Taiyan Kingdom still has 600,000 troops left in our mighty kingdom. And our mighty kingdom gathers the entire military strength of the Aurora Kingdom. There are a total of 200,000 of them. Zheng Yu replied. Zhou Zhou frowned. Why are the casualties so heavy? The Aurora Kingdom still had about 500,000 men strong the last time he came. 300,000 soldiers died in a day. Zhou Zhou took a deep breath and felt the cruelty of war. Lord of the Blazing Sun, don't worry. Even though our Aurora Kingdom's military strength is far less than the other parties. Whether it's the terrain resources, war machines, morale, and other advantages, we're far superior to the other party. Therefore, even if we only have 200,000 troops, in my opinion, as long as nothing unexpected happens, we won't have a problem stopping the other party for another week. Zheng Yu said firmly. Zhou Zhou was stunned for a moment before nodding. No matter what the final truth was, having such confidence was better than nothing in the time that followed. Zhou Zhou chatted with the other party about more things about the Taiyan Kingdom and the Aurora Kingdom, including the characteristics of the heroes of the two kingdoms. Soon half an hour passed. Wuxia, Takuma, Sashiko, all kinds of furious roars sounded from the edge of the battlefield tens of thousands of meters away. Then, Zhou Zhou and the others saw dense fog monsters surge over from afar like a tidal wave. Among them were monsters running on the ground and flying in the sky. He could not see any gaps at a glance, giving him an extremely despairing feeling. With a thought, Zhou Zhou sent a message to the 500 diamond-tier soldiers under the city wall and asked them to wait for the city gate to open. Then, they would leave the city and kill their way out. Then they would immediately return. The soldiers accepted the order. Then, Zhou Zhou looked at Bai Yun beside him. Bai Yun, you're in charge of leading the team this time. At that time, temporarily hide your heroic aura among the soldiers. If the other party's hero attacks, counterattack and immediately lead the troops back. Yes, my lord, Bai Yun said respectfully. Then he quickly walked down the city wall and led the team. Seeing this, Zhou Zhou told Zheng Yu about this. Open the city gate. Zheng Yu frowned slightly. In a situation where the difference in strength between the enemy and the enemy was huge, the best way to defend was to defend the city. Opening the city gate was a very dangerous action. However, he quickly thought of His Majesty's orders, and his eyes became firm. All right, I'll get the soldiers to open the city gate now, Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Opening the city gate was also a last resort. Previously, a large part of the reason why he could make his soldiers jump down from the city wall and charge into the enemy camp before jumping back to the city wall was because the city wall was not tall enough. As a diamond-tier regional territory, The mighty kingdom's city wall was 1,000 meters tall. At such a high distance, even if his 500 diamond-tier soldiers could jump down without being injured, it would be difficult for them to jump up again. Since that was the case, it was better to let Zheng Yu be prepared now. Don't worry. My soldiers will be back soon. When the time comes, just close the city gate immediately. Zhou Zhou comforted Zheng Yu. Zheng Yu heaved a sigh of relief, but his expression was still a little serious. Soon the door of the mighty kingdom was opened. 500 soldiers, and Bai Yun immediately rushed out of the city, turning into 500 afterimages, as they charged towards the other party's 600,000-strong army. When they saw these 501 soldiers, not only were the fog monsters opposite them stunned, even Zheng Yu and the other soldiers on the city wall were stunned. Then Zheng Yu's expression shook. This was because he could tell that these 501 soldiers were actually diamond-tier experts like him. Oh my god, Zheng Yu was stunned. City Lord of the Blazing Sun, are those your soldiers? He swallowed and asked Zhou Zhou carefully. He could not help but use the honorific your. Chapter 414 by Yun 02. Yes. Zhou Zhou acknowledged. Zheng Yu swallowed again. No wonder. No wonder this lord dared to let 500 soldiers attack the other party's 600,000-strong army. There were a total of 500 diamond-tier soldiers after all. Even though they could not kill all the fog monsters opposite them, the other party's 600,000 troops would definitely not be able to stop these 501 diamond-tier soldiers without the hero appearing. They might be able to escape with slight losses of some soldiers, even if the hero from the opposing side attacked. With the strength of these 500 soldiers. Thinking of this, Zheng Yu thought even more highly of this Lord of the Blazing Sun. The name of the Lord of the Blazing Sun had been circulating in the Aurora Kingdom for a long time. However, at that time, the legendary tier Lord of the Blazing Sun was a lord with good potential. He could try to rope him in. He did not just have good potential from the looks of it. This was clearly because his potential had already turned into strength. Moreover, he might already be stronger than the current Aurora Kingdom. He had more than 500 diamond-tier soldiers alone after all. Then the total number of other low-level soldiers would probably be hundreds of thousands. Thinking of this, Zheng Yu instantly felt deep reverence for the Lord of the Blazing Sun in front of him. Zhou Zhou did not notice Zheng Yu's expression. He had been looking at the distant battlefield. On the battlefield, when Bai Yun secretly led 500 diamond-tier soldiers to charge at the enemy's 600,000-strong army, even though this scene stunned the other party, they quickly reacted and rushed towards the other party with ferocious expressions. Some of the high-level generals did not take it to heart, even though they could tell that the other party was very strong. This was because they knew that behind them was the #1 hero-level marksman in the Taiyan Kingdom, the Ice Soul Arrow Demon, Lord Wuxia. As expected, in the next second, an illusory ice-blue arrow shot out of the fog monster army and shot straight at the 500 Blazing Sun City soldiers. To be precise, it was aimed at Bai Yun, who was among the soldiers. At this moment, Bai Yun, who was hiding among the soldiers, was a little surprised. She did not expect the other party's hero to attack first before they could even fight. At this moment, she did not realize that this arrow was specially aimed at her. However, Bai Yun did not hesitate and drew her bow. Blood-colored arrow chi condensed from the 500 diamond-tier soldiers. Then, it condensed on the blood bow in a certain military formation, forming a long wolf head blood crystal arrow. This was a new hero skill that Bai Yun had just created in the past 2 days. It used the hero skill, Bloodfire Meteor, as its foundation, and the Greedy Wolf Howling Moon Array as a modified template. It gathered thousands of Bloodfire arrow chi on an arrow, and formed a fatal arrow. Its name was Hero Skill, Greedy Wolf Devouring Arrow. Roar! A divine wolf roar that seemed to come from the core of the star sounded. The next second, the blood crystal divine arrow shot out, and the image of a divine wolf in blood-colored armor vaguely appeared around its body. After it shot out, it streaked across the sky in the blink of an eye, and instantly arrived in front of the ice-blue arrow. Then, the divine wolf opened its mouth and swallowed the greedy wolf devouring arrow in front of everyone. Then, it went straight to the source of the arrow, the Ice Soul Arrow Demon Wuxia. Behind the battlefield, the Ice Soul Sword Demon was a tall humanoid monster with snow-white fur on its surface and light blue fur. But its face was pitch black. It looked at Bai Yin, who was hidden among the 500 soldiers, and its ice-blue eyes revealed a bone-chilling coldness. It mocked in its heart. It could tell that the other party seemed to have mastered a few skills to hide its traces. If other heroes came, they might not be able to see through the other party's methods. However, it was the #1 hero-level marksman in the Taiyan Kingdom. Other methods might not be as good as other heroes. However, in terms of archery cultivation and vision, he was confident that no hero could compare to it in these two aspects throughout Aurora Kingdom, Taiyan, Titan, and the Netherbark Kingdom. Therefore, not only could it tell at a glance that Bai Yin was hiding among the soldiers, but it could also tell that she was a diamond-tier elementary-grade human hero. Moreover, her hero slot was not low. When it realized this, it immediately had the intention to kill the other party. Therefore, it immediately raised its bow and drew its arrow, shooting its strongest arrow. Hero skill, Ice and Snow Soul Ceiling. It was confident that this arrow could kill the other party with one arrow. This was because its hero skill was specially targeted at the soul. Once such an arrow was fired, very few life forms could survive this arrow. One of the 3 heroes of the Aurora Kingdom, the Dark Spirit Mage, had died under its arrow. However, its expression changed when it saw Bai Yin reflect the Blood Crystal Divine Arrow. Legendary Tier Arrow. She has a Legendary Tier Hero Fate level slot? It found it very unbelievable. However, even though it was unwilling to believe this fact, its body still turned around and flew away obediently. However, this arrow seemed to have eyes as it chased closely behind Wuxia and approached it at an astonishing speed. In the end, it struck Wuxia. Rumble! An astonishing explosion sounded, blasting out a huge blood-colored cloud. The cloud vaguely formed the image of a blood-colored divine wolf. This blood-colored divine wolf was biting a monster with light blue fur. It was the Ice Soul Sword Spirit Wuxia. Ah! Screams sounded one after another. 4 to 5 seconds later, the Ice Soul Sword Spirit unintentionally rushed out of the blood-colored cloud and fled into the distance. On the battlefield, both sides fell silent. The Fog Monster army was confused. They did not expect their greatest spiritual pillar and strength pillar to be defeated and driven away at the beginning of the battle. Bai Yin also looked at her bow and arrow thoughtfully, her entire body emitting an unstable pressure. However, she did not forget her mission. She immediately led the soldiers into the other party's army to kill and plunder. Then, she retreated to the Mighty Kingdom before the other party surrounded her. On the city wall of the Mighty Kingdom, when Zhou saw this, he raised his right hand without hesitation. Yellow Gold Tier Lord Talent. Insight Defection activate. Boom! An invisible fluctuation instantly covered the 600,000 fog monsters. The next second, a total of 70,000 fog monsters' bodies stiffened. Then, the expression in their eyes changed. And they began to feign that they were still fighting while quietly retreating. Even though there were already more than 70,000 fog monsters, they did not notice this because their hero, the Ice Soul Sword Spirit, Wuxia, had already escaped. On the other side, after Zhou activated Insight Defection, he looked at the Lord Talent hint. Prompt. You have activated your Lord's exclusive talent, Insight Defection. Insight Defection has taken effect. Lord Talent notification. A total of 23,971 Black Iron Tier Fog Monsters, 64 Green Bronze Tier Fog Monsters, 11,332 White Silver Tier Fog Monsters, 31 Yellow Gold Tier Fog Monsters, 8,134 White Platinum Tier Fog Monsters, 224 Diamond Tier Fog Monsters, and 9 Extraordinary Tier Fog Monsters have betrayed their lord's faction and become your loyal subordinates. A smile appeared on Zhou's face. Even though Insight Defection made 74,865 monster subordinates this time, there were actually 9 extraordinary tier fog monsters among them, even more than the last Insight Defection. What a pleasant surprise! Then he looked at the notification that had just appeared. Your subject Blood Fire Arrow Elf, Bai Yin's hero biography has been updated. Zhou Zhou raised his eyebrows. Chapter 4:15 Two new hero biographies. The hero biography has been updated? Zhou Zhou was a little surprised. Was it because she fought the other party's hero and repelled them? Honestly, he was a little stunned when he saw Bai Yin repel the Ice Soul Sword Spirit Wuxia. According to his understanding, the Ice Soul Sword Spirit was a standard extraordinary tier intermediate grade hero. Bai Yin was only a diamond tier elementary grade hero. Even though there was a difference in fate between the two, it shouldn't be so great that Bai Yin could directly defeat someone of a higher level, right? But that was the truth. With this question in mind, Zhou Zhou opened Bai Yin's hero biography. Then he knew the reason. Subject: Bai Yin Hero Unit. Hero title: Blood Fire Arrow Elf. Position: Legendary tier hero. Fate level: Fake. Territory: Blazing Sun Territory. Strength level: Diamond tier elementary grade. Ability overview: a hero with both human bloodline and high-level wood elf bloodline. Her body contains powerful energy, and she is proficient in elemental archery. She is a hero that can make enemies tremble in fear on the battlefield. Human bloodline, white silver tier intermediate grade, 75%. High-level wood elves bloodline, extraordinary tier elementary grade, 25%. Skills: hero skill Blood Fire Arrow Rain, hero skill Morale Stability, hero skill Silent March, hero skill Greedy Wolf Devouring Arrow. Legendary tier advanced grade Tree of Life Meditation Technique, white platinum tier elementary grade Battle Array Theory, diamond tier elementary grade Wood Elemental Control, diamond tier elementary grade Fire Elemental Control, diamond tier elementary grade Blood Elemental Control. Loyalty: 100. Potential: legendary tier. Hero biography: 1. Under the blessing of the Lord of the Blazing Sun, he obtained the hero inheritance of the Blood Fire Arrow Elf and became the second-generation Blood Fire Arrow Elf. The hero's personal reputation rating +1. The elf race's reputation +10,000. The High Continent's reputation +52. Blood Fire Arrow Elf. Bai Yin comprehended the path of the military formation and gradually understood how to break through his own shackles and become a legendary tier hero. 3. In order to protect the friendly country, the Blood Fire Arrow Elf led 500 soldiers to attack the 60,000-strong Fog Monster army and used the power of an arrow to severely injure the enemy's extraordinary tier intermediate grade hero, breaking the enemy's fighting spirit. Prompt: creating more hero biographies can increase the probability of the legendary tier hero fate level turning into reality. Zhou Zhou's eyes widened. Good God! 2 more hero biographies. Moreover, the second hero biography also stated that Bai Yin had already comprehended the path of a legendary tier hero through comprehending the path of military formations. A legendary tier hero. A hero second only to a divine tier hero. It could be said to be at the peak of the mortal realm. A few days ago, Bai Yin had told him that she already had her own understanding of the Greedy Wolf Howling Moon Array. He did not expect this. Zhou Zhou was pleasantly surprised. It was not in vain that he had invested so much effort and resources in Bai Yin. Moreover, Zhou Zhou also realized something. That was the advancement of heroes did not seem to have much to do with aptitude and bloodline. Depending on the conditions for the hero to advance, it was often because this hero had done something special. Zhou Zhou was deep in thought. In that case, even ordinary life forms with very low potential might have a chance of becoming heroes. He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. At this moment, Bai Yin had already led her troops back into the city. The soldiers guarding the city quickly closed the city gate. Fortunately, the other party's 500,000-odd troops had lost their command because their hero had escaped with serious injuries. The army was a little chaotic, and for a moment, no enemy could rush to the city gate. "I've something to report, my lord. We've completed the mission," Bai Yin said respectfully. Zheng Yu and the others looked at her in awe. They now understood that this female general was a hero. Zhou Zhou nodded and smiled. "Bai Yin, this move of yours gave me a big surprise. It's all thanks to the Lord's cultivation. and the help of teacher Wuxia and the other siblings. Bai Yin did not take the credit at all. You're right, but don't be humble about your own role. It'll reward you later. Zhou smiled. Thank you, my lord. Bai Yin was looking forward to it. Even though she served the Lord only because she was loyal to him and did not care about rewards. But it had to be said. Every reward from the Lord was unimaginably rich. It's a pity that my hero fate level slot hasn't reached the legendary tier hero fate level yet. Otherwise, my arrow should be able to kill it with one arrow and not let it escape only with heavy injuries, Bai Yin said regretfully. When the surrounding people heard this, they clicked their tongues in their hearts. This lord actually had the intention to kill him? However, what the Lord of the Blazing Sun said next stunned everyone. Escape with serious injuries? That's not necessarily true. Zhou smiled. It was as if it was responding to his words. As soon as he finished speaking, a kill notification appeared in front of him. Your pet, Dragon King of Volcano and Destruction, Nazario, has killed an extraordinary tier intermediate grade Ice Soul Arrow Demon, Heartless. You have received plus 40 million promotion energy. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. Your pet, Dragon King of Volcano and Destruction, Nazario, has obtained an additional 800 million promotion energy points. Your pet, Dragon King of Volcano and Destruction, Nazario's hero biography has been updated. Your subject, Bloodfire Arrow Elf, Bai Yin's hero biography has been updated. Zhou felt that the promotion energy in his body, which was already more than 90%, had suddenly increased by about 1%. At the same time, roar. A dragon roar that shook the world sounded, as if it was quite carefree and surprised. The next second, an 800-meter-tall ferocious black-red figure flew towards the mighty kingdom, with the terrifying heat of the endless fire territory. It was the Dragon King of Volcano and Destruction, Nazario. Everyone was a little panicked at first, but when Zhou said that he was one of them, everyone was shocked and pleasantly surprised. They took a closer look. He suddenly realized that the dragon's dragon claws were holding onto a weak figure. Who's that? Why does it feel like the Ice Soul Arrow Demon that General Zheng drew for us, Wuxia? Zheng Yu suddenly became excited. What fucking resemblance? It's that monster, the Ice Soul Arrow Demon. He was so excited that he was incoherent. In the end, tears even flowed out. He knelt on the ground. His body was like a mountain, and he cried like a child. The surrounding soldiers also reacted, and their eyes began to turn red. Because just yesterday, one of the 3 heroes of the Aurora Kingdom, the Dark Spirit Mage, died in front of the mighty kingdom, because he wanted to protect them and the city under their feet. Chapter 416 Loots from Ice Soul Arrow Demon, Wuxia. Heaven and Earth Heart Arrow. At that time, Zheng Yu, as the city lord of the mighty kingdom, could not do anything. He could only watch as the old man's soul was sealed by the other party's arrow, and he fell weakly onto the battlefield. In the end, even his corpse was torn apart by the other party's monster army. That scene made all the soldiers present extremely sad. That was why he was crying so sadly now. However, it was fine now. Even though they were not the ones who killed them, they felt much less anger, hatred, and guilt in their hearts now that the enemy who had killed the Dark Spirit Mage was dead. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Nazario flapped his dragon wings and slowly landed in an empty space in Mighty Kingdom. The surrounding subjects of the Mighty Kingdom looked at this huge dragon that was like the god of volcanoes in reverence and curiosity. They had already heard from the patrolling soldiers that this was a dragon general from the reinforcements and was on the side of the human race. It would not harm the human race, as long as it did not take the initiative to provoke it. Just as people were admiring the domineering figure of this dragon, the group arrived in front of it. It was Zhou and the others. Wu, Nazario called out and pushed the corpse under its feet over. Zhou looked over. It was the corpse of the Ice Soul Arrow Demon Wuxia. Monster name: Ice Soul Arrow Demon, Wuxia, Kingdom Level Scarlet Hero. Strength Level: Extraordinary Tier Intermediate Grade. Monster Description: one of the 3 extraordinary tier Scarlet Heroes of the Taiyan Kingdom. It is good at using an extraordinary tier intermediate grade arms, the Ice Soul Demon Bow. It is quite talented in archery. Later on, it even relied on itself and the Ice Soul Demon Bow in its hand to successfully walk its own hero path. It even received the admiration of the Crimson Overlord. So it is loyal to the Supreme Will. Loot's drop rate. 1000 Extraordinary Tier Mist Cores drop rate. 100%. 400 Origin Crystals drop rate. 100%. 1 Extraordinary Tier Intermediate Grade Enhanceable Hero Skill. Heaven and Earth Heart Arrow. 1 Extraordinary Tier Intermediate Grade Hero Skill Ice Sealed Soul. 1 Extraordinary Tier Intermediate Grade Ice Soul Bow. Drop rate. 10%. 1 Extraordinary Tier Intermediate Grade Enhanceable Skill Book. Heartless. Drop rate. 5%. 1 Extraordinary Tier Intermediate Grade Skill Book. Flying Arrow Avatar. Drop rate. 5%. 1 Fanatic Tier Scarlet Crystals. Drop rate. 3%. 1 Extraordinary Tier Intermediate Grade Hero Inheritance Secret Manual. Drop rate. 0.001%. 6 Black Iron Tier Lord Talent Crystal Fragments. Drop rate. 0%. Zhou gaze landed on the Fanatic Believer Faith Divine Crystal in the loots and his eyes lit up. He had finally obtained this Faith Divine Crystal. When he used the King of Loots to loot the corpse later, he would have a Holy Spirit level Faith Divine Crystal. He was lucky. He found the item to revive Liya on the second day. He placed his hand on it without hesitation and began to extract it. A text notification appeared. Lord Talent Notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots, Perfect Loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots has increased by 20%. Lord Talent Notification. You have obtained Perfect Loots, 120 Epic Tier Mist Cores, 480 Origin Crystals, 1 Epic Tier Intermediate Grade Enhanceable Hero Skill, Heart Arrow Heaven and Earth, 1 Epic Tier Intermediate Grade Hero Skill Grade Ice Seal, 1 Epic Tier Intermediate Grade Equipment, Snow Goddess Chant, 1 Epic Tier Intermediate Grade Flying Arrow Clone Technique, 1 Holy Spirit Tier Scarlet Crystals, 1 Epic Tier Intermediate Grade Fragment, Hero Inheritance. Secret Manual, 7 Green Bronze Tier Hero Inheritance Crystals. Whoosh. A large number of loots dropped, but they were instantly put into Zhou's spatial ring. The surrounding people only saw a flash of light before the corpse of the Ice Soul Arrow Demon, Wuxia, disappeared. Everyone's expressions became strange. They guessed that the reason why the corpse disappeared was probably because this famous Lord of the Blazing Sun had retrieved the loots. They did not expect that not a single loot was dropped. His luck was so bad. If I had known earlier, I would have recommended myself to this lord and let me extract it. I'm a lucky person by profession. What a pity. This is the corpse of a hero. Any item dropped is priceless. Shut up. This is our savior. How can you discuss him casually here? We're just saying. Zhou's 6 senses were astonishing, so he naturally heard the discussions around him. However, he did not care about their opinions. Who would have thought that I would have already exploded the loots? Moreover, even though he had a certain level of strength now, and could even fight a beginner kingdom, however, making a fortune in silence was still a habit hidden in his bones. He looked at the loots in the spatial ring. There was naturally no need to mention the Mist Cores, Origin Crystals, Scarlet Crystals, and Lord Talent Crystal Fragments. As for the Epic Tier Hero Skills, Equipment, and Skill Books, he took a rough look. In the end, he realized that this Snow Goddess Chant was actually tied to the hero skill, Great Ice Seal. Only by holding the Snow Goddess Chant could he use it to use the hero skill Great Ice Seal. Zhou quickly understood when he thought about how Wuxia had used the Ice Soul Bow as the foundation to walk his path as an archer. Then his gaze landed on the only Epic Tier growth skill, Heaven and Earth Heart Arrow. This was a skill with the same name as the other party's hero skill. Zhou guessed that the Ice Soul Arrow Demon, Wuxia, should have used the origin of this skill as the foundation to gradually create his own hero skill and walk his own hero path before becoming a hero. However, that was not the most important thing. The most important thing was, it was an enhanceable skill. Therefore, Zhou could also learn it. But he only obtained the Diamond Tier Elementary Grade version. He looked over. Skill name: Heaven and Earth Heart Arrow. Skill quality: Epic Tier Intermediate Grade. Enhanceable. Skill description: use the heart as the eye and the arrow as the end. No arrow can reach the heart. Zhou looked at the description of this skill for a long time, not sure what it meant. He did not think too much about it, and learned it directly. Then he understood the power of this skill. Its skill description meant two abilities. First, the archer could use his heart or mental strength to observe the world. The further his heart or mental strength was, the wider the range he could see. Secondly, as long as it was a place observed by the archer, the arrow he shot could hit it. It was useless even if it was related to cards, barriers, and other obstacles. This was because within the range of the archer's heart, he could even condense a heart arrow on the enemy's face and kill them. As for the upgrade of skills, it was the size of the range perceived by the heart, and the power of the arrows shot out. Oh my god! Top-notch archery skills, Zhou thought after reading it. Chapter 417 Bai Yun's Shortcoming. Wasn't this referring to archery skills? Zhou was surprised. Then, he chose to learn without hesitation. As soon as he learned this skill, Zhou immediately felt a large amount of archery knowledge, skills, practical experiences, and even some mysterious archery concepts surge into his mind. After more than half an hour, Zhou was accepting this archery inheritance. During this period, Bai Yun also led 500 Diamond Tier soldiers to protect her lord dutifully. When Zhou woke up, his eyes were blank. Then they condensed again in an instant. His eyes actually felt like arrows piercing through his soul. When Bai Yun sensed that her lord had woken up, she immediately came over to greet him. However, when she saw Zhou's gaze, she subconsciously took a step back. She was surprised. This was because she actually saw the familiar archery temperament in the lord's eyes. It was as if the person standing in front of her was not only her lord, but also an archer who had been immersed in archery cultivation for hundreds or thousands of years. On the other side, Zhou was also clicking his tongue at the Heaven and Earth Heart Arrow skill. He only knew now, this Heaven and Earth Heart Arrow was not just a skill. This was clearly an archery inheritance. The Heaven and Earth Heart Arrow skill, he accepted, actually included all of Wuxia's memories from the first time he came into contact with archery until now. The Heaven and Earth Heart Arrow did not only increase the range of an archer's perception and mystical archery skills, it was also the Ice Soul Arrow Demon, Wuxia's experience cultivating from nothing, from which he accumulated the archery realm. The current Zhou could instantly become a top archer of all races, as long as he was given a bow and a quiver of arrows. Taking the enemy general's head with an arrow from hundreds of miles away was as easy as taking something out of his pocket. Zhou took a deep breath. A smile appeared on his face. It had to be said. He liked this ability inheritance more than those fancy skills. This was because skills could be banned or suppressed by other skills in some way. Or if he did not have energy in his body, he would not be able to use some skills that required energy. However, he did not know this saber technique inheritance and archery inheritance. Sometimes he did not even need a designated professional weapon, as long as he still had his physical body and strength. He could use saber techniques in archery. Bai Yun. Zhou's gaze landed on the other lutes before looking at Bai Yun. My lord, am here. Bai Yun was stunned and hurriedly replied. Your strength has also increased greatly, but you're still a step away from the legendary tier hero fate. This lord will give you a gift. I hope you can break through this bottleneck as soon as possible. After saying that, Zhou flipped his right hand, and a skill book appeared in his hand. It was the hero skill of the Heaven and Earth Heart Arrow. He was not a hero, let alone an archery hero, so he could not use this skill book. The only suitable person in his territory to use this skill book was Bai Yun, the Blood Fire Arrow Elf. Thank you for the reward, my lord. When Bai Yun heard this, she took it expectantly. When she saw this skill, she was stunned. Then, her expression trembled, and her face was filled with surprise. She had only become a hero for a short period of time after all, and her foundation was still very shallow. Even though she had inherited the hero inheritance of the first-generation Bloodfire Arrow Elf, and grasped all its hero skills and race talents, the other party had died on the battlefield when she was young after all, so it did not give her much foundation. Her most obvious and shortcoming that needed to be made up for was her archery realm. Archery was the foundation of her Bloodfire Arrow Elf status to begin with. It was also the foundation of her hero fate. If her archery skills could not reach a higher realm, it would be very difficult for her to break through the Bloodfire Arrow Elf's hero fate level slot and reach a higher level of fate realm. Previously, she had developed her own exclusive hero skill while cultivating in military formations, allowing her hero fate level to be upgraded. Actually, it was partly because she had taken a shortcut. Even though this shortcut could not be said to be wrong, it did not allow her to completely take another step forward and reach the legendary tier hero fate level slot. Bai Yin could feel it. He was only lacking in the archery realm. As long as she could make up for this shortcoming and create some hero biographies, she could completely advance to the legendary tier hero fate level slot. Actually, it was fine not to make up for this shortcoming. She felt that she could also advance by using the hero biography. However, a lot of them might be needed. Perhaps 4 to 5 more hero biographies would be able to completely advance her to the legendary tier hero fate level slot. It was difficult to give birth to hero biographies to begin with. She did not know how long it would take to accumulate so many hero biographies. However, if she made up for this last shortcoming, she might only need 1 or 2 hero biographies to officially advance to the legendary tier hero fate level. Thinking of this, she immediately knelt on one knee and said excitedly, "Thank you for the reward, my lord. This thing is extremely important to me." "That's good. Are you confident in advancing to the legendary tier hero fate level slot?" Zhou asked with a smile. Yes. Bai Yin's expression was grit. The Lord had already paved the way in front of her. If she still could not take this step, she might as well withdraw from the army. Okay. You can learn this skill on the return trip. Zhou nodded. He was very satisfied. The gains this time were simply rich. Not only did Insight Defection have more than 70,000 fog monsters, he even encountered an opportunity to advance Bai Yin to the legendary tier hero fate level slot. Moreover, he had obtained all the loots of a Scarlet Hero, allowing him to add another hero slot. Not bad, not bad. This trip was not made in vain. Yes, my lord, Bai Yin said respectfully. After that, Zhou and the others did not stay any longer. After asking Zheng Yu to convey to Li Yuangan that he had something urgent to do, and had to leave first, Zhou and the others left the mighty kingdom. He had already activated Insight Defection on more than 70,000 fog monsters. Coupled with the death of the other party's Scarlet Hero, the combat strength of the Taiyan Kingdom had already decreased greatly. Even though they were still overwhelming in terms of military strength, the Aurora Kingdom had the geographical advantage. Coupled with the existence of the 2 extraordinary tier Aurora Kingdom heroes, even if they could not completely defeat the remaining fog monster army, it was not a problem for them to not be captured. It could be said that, even though there was still a crisis in the Aurora Kingdom, it was no longer a crisis of destruction. Next, he just had to wait for the Titan Kingdom and the Taiyan Kingdom to determine the victor before improvising. He also had to go back and continue dealing with the matters in the final battlefield. The final battlefield event would end in 2 days. At that time, the Myriad Races Lord battlefield event would be settled. He had to try to fight for the position of the strongest lord of all races before that. Chapter 418 The Gaze of the Goddess of Life. Leah resurrected. Zhou and the others left the mighty kingdom and took the Starry Night to an uninhabited suburb 10 kilometers away. They saw more than 70,000 fog monsters there. How many of you are left? Zhou looked at the 9 extraordinary tier experts in the lead and asked. Reporting to my lord. When we were retreating just now, more than 1,000 soldiers white silver tier and below died. We still have 73,021 soldiers left. An extraordinary tier elementary grade fog monster leader stood up and said respectfully. Zhou acknowledged. Fortunately, the losses were not big. After that, He did not say anything else. He brought these monster soldiers into the starry night and returned to the mighty kingdom. He returned to the blazing sun territory through the spatial teleportation array. 15 minutes later in Blazing Sun City, after Zhou Zhou and the others returned, he asked Bai Yin to bring the new recruits to join the monster army. He went to the shelter of the goddess of life and found Carol Moeli. The shelter of the goddess of life. In the prayer hall. "Greetings, my lord," Carol Moeli said respectfully. "I'm here to revive someone." Zhou Zhou went straight to the point. "My lord, please follow me." Carol Moeli didn't waste her breath and brought Zhou Zhou to the statue of the goddess of life. "My lord, please take out the resurrection medium." Zhou Zhou waved his right hand, and Li Ya's crystal coffin appeared in front of the statue. Carol Moeli's expression became serious. She raised the scepter in her hand with both hands, closed her eyes, and muttered something. Gradually, an invisible pressure suddenly appeared around him. It was the pressure of a god spirit. This was the second time Zhou Zhou had experienced it, so he did not panic. Buzz! A buzzing sound could be heard. The surface of the statue of the goddess of life suddenly emitted a gentle and rich golden light. This golden light quickly covered the entire temple. Accompanied by the golden light was the extremely intense pressure of the god spirit law. Zhou Zhou's face gradually turned pale under the pressure of the god spirit nomological laws. He suppressed his discomfort and lowered his head. At the same time, he did not know if it was an illusion. Zhou Zhou seemed to feel the statue of the goddess of life glance at him. There was no time to think too much. He only wanted this great resurrection spell ceremony to be successfully completed. After a long time, the terrifying god spirit will finally disappeared in Zhou Zhou's perception. The moment this will disappeared, the golden light that covered the entire shelter disappeared. "My lord, it's over." Carol Moeli's voice sounded. Zhou Zhou looked up and immediately went forward to support the pale Carol Moeli. "How are you? My lord, don't worry. I'm already at the extraordinary tier elementary grade. Even though it's still a little difficult to use the Great Resurrection spell once, it no longer affects our daily movements." Carol Moeli smiled. Zhou Zhou sensed her physical condition. He heaved a sigh of relief when he realized that even though she had indeed consumed a lot of energy, her body was indeed fine. "It's good that you're fine." Zhou Zhou smiled and nodded. He released his grip on the other party. A hint of disappointment flashed across the depths of Carol Moeli's eyes, then turned into a gentle smile. "Let's go see the girl. She's fine now." Carol Moeli smiled. Zhou Zhou nodded and turned back to see Leah looking at them. "Zhou Zhou, what's going on? Am I not dead?" Li Ya's expression quickly returned to normal. She touched her back and asked in surprise. She still remembered that she was returning to the capital with the diamond tier Aurora crystal and was about to return to the palace to tell her father the good news, when she suddenly felt a chill run down her spine. Then she saw a dagger spike pierce through her heart and appear in front of her. Then she fainted. Logically speaking, shouldn't she be dead? Why was she suddenly alive? "I'll tell you slowly." Zhou Zhou walked in front of her and spent more than half an hour telling her everything. Of course, there were some things that concerned his secrets that he would not tell anyone. Even though the crisis in the Aurora Kingdom is still there, it's not so dangerous anymore, Zhou Zhou said in the end. Leah looked confused. She never expected this. So many things had happened in just 2 days. Aurora Kingdom was nearly destroyed by Tang Kingdom, and her father would actually give the entire kingdom to Zhou Zhou in order to revive her? Maybe. Her father was really tired. This might be a good thing for both father and Zhou Zhou. This thought suddenly flashed across Li Ya's mind. "Thank you. Leah will definitely repay you for reviving me in the future. Even though I don't know how to repay you, Leah is definitely not an ungrateful person." "Zhou Zhou, I want to go back and see my father first. Can I?" Towards the end, Leah could not help but say. Logically speaking, she should stay here and thank Zhou Zhou, because she had just been revived by Zhou Zhou. However, she really wanted to go back and see her father, who had done everything for her. "Sure. I will arrange for an extraordinary tier subordinate and a starry night to send you to see your father as soon as possible. He should still be supervising the battle in the mighty kingdom. Show your identity there. Someone will naturally bring you to see your father. Zhou agreed without hesitation. Thank you, Zhou. Li Ya's lips moved and she said dryly. She felt that she owed Zhou too much. The next second, she felt a warm hand land on her head and rub it gently. For what? We're all friends. Zhou smiled and called someone over to make arrangements. After arranging everything, Li bade farewell to Zhou reluctantly and left. Zhou did not stay here. Instead, he came to the gate of summoning and began today's fixed summoning. Prompt. Do you want to summon immediately? Yes. Zhou looked at the gate of summoning in front of him. The next second, the gate of summoning suddenly lit up with a bright white light. Then a large number of subjects walked out. The upgraded gate of summoning was much larger, so it only took less than 15 minutes for all 1,425 new subjects to walk out of it. Greetings, my lord. X1. For 25, the 1,425 new subjects said respectfully. Welcome to Blazing Sun City. Zhou nodded. Then, he asked all the professionals to stand up and realized that he had summoned 85 professionals this time. There were 30 more professionals than usual. It was obvious. These 30 professionals were the professional subjects that appeared randomly among the subjects summoned. The other professional subjects were all fixedly summoned. Zhou was quite satisfied with this. Then, he began to check the information of these professional subjects. Among the 85 professional subjects were a white platinum tier elementary grade architect, a white platinum tier elementary cavalryman, a white platinum tier elementary grade archer, a white platinum tier elementary grade merchant, and a white platinum tier elementary grade beast tamer. The rest were life professionals and combat professionals below the yellow gold tier. Zhou looked at the 5 white platinum tier elementary grade professionals with a satisfied expression. In the past, these were 5 talents attracted by his reputation rating. Now they had been summoned directly. Awesome. He wondered if the talent attracted by his reputation rating today would give him a surprise. It would be meaningless if another white platinum tier reputation rating talent appeared. Chapter 419 Yellow Gold Tier Monster Ranch. He did not have to worry about anything else. Zheng Yuanqi had long set up a placement beside the gate of summoning. He was in charge of settling these newly summoned subjects, so that they could find a suitable place for them to shine in the territory. Zhou was naturally not worried about their placement. First, he went to the golem lair and collected the 126 golems today. Then, he led his men to clean up the time ruins and led the soldiers to the monster ranch. There were already 15 monster ranches around the Blazing Sun territory, and each monster ranch had 5,000 fog monsters. In total, there were a total of 75,000 fog monsters surrounding the monster ranch to survive. His eyes were filled with the figures of the fog monsters gazing at the scene before him. Those who did not know the inside story would probably think that this was the kingdom of the fog monsters. Zhou and the other subjects of Blazing Sun City naturally did not have any misunderstandings about these monster ranches. They all knew that this monster ranch was his lord's greatest property other than the Jade Sun Fruit Forest. At the same time, it was an important source of resources for the soldiers of the Blazing Sun territory to increase their strength. The strongest fog monsters that can be nurtured in the monster ranch can already reach the white platinum tier elementary grade. It suits the current mainstream strength of the soldiers of my Blazing Sun territory. As for the equipment, skills, and other resources needed by soldiers above the white platinum tier intermediate grade, we don't have to worry for the time being. It can be provided from the territory of the high-level Scarlet Lord outside, or we can continue to provide it when the monster ranch level increases in the future. Thinking of this, Zhou felt a little complicated. Most of the credit for his soldiers being able to reach this place without lacking equipment, skills, and other resources fell on this monster ranch. By Yun Wu Xian. Clean up the monster ranch. He stopped thinking about it and said to the 2 people beside him, Yes, my lord. The 2 of them said respectfully and led the way. Then, he immediately called for the human soldiers to enter the monster ranch and begin to clean up the monsters in it. The number of soldiers in the 2 legions under his command, including the recruits he had just recruited, had reached 587,652 soldiers. With so many soldiers, the monster ranch with only 75,000 fog monsters was no longer enough. Therefore, Zhou decided to let the human soldiers use the monsters in the monster ranch to increase their strength first. After all, the monster army under his command was recruited by him with insight defection. They had a very strong strength foundation and did not need the monster ranch to upgrade them. Moreover, there are 30 more monster clergymen under my management. I guess that this might be the Lord's doing, so I brought them to see you. Mu Gu said respectfully. So they're your new subordinates. TSK, that's right. I just upgraded your monster ranch. How is it? How do you feel? Zhou asked curiously. My current potential has already increased, and I can already nurture Lord-tier fog monsters. But it's not the kind of Lord-level monster created by the Crimson Overlord. It's a Lord-tier fog monster that only has the strength and loots of a Lord-tier monster, but no specific territory or Lord talent. In addition, I feel that I can still manage an additional 15 monster ranches. The upper limit of the number of fog monsters each monster ranch can accommodate has also increased to 10,000. Mu Gu said with a smile. Zhou was delighted. He could nurture Lord-tier monsters. Wouldn't he be able to obtain special loots unique to Lord-tier monsters then? Zhou was already quite satisfied that Lord-tier loots could be dropped even though it probably wouldn't drop anything like a Lord token or a Lord talent crystal fragment. If other lords wanted to kill lords, they had to specially go to the Scarlet Lord's territory and find Lord-level monsters to kill. His territory could already create Lord-tier monsters without leaving his house. Zhou felt comfortable just thinking about it. Chapter 4 2658,245 people. Not bad, not bad. I didn't upgrade your monster ranch for nothing. Zhou smiled and opened Mu Gu's personal stats. Subject, Mu Gu. Territory, Blazing Sun Territory. Life profession, Monster Rancher. Class, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Combat class name, Monster Patriarch. Strength level, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Ability overview. The Monster Rancher of the Monster Ranch is also a monster priest who is good at fighting fog monsters. He is proficient in communication, taming and controlling fog monsters. There is a chance to upgrade a normal fog monster to an elite fog monster, or even a leader fog monster. Skills, Special Building, Monster Ranch, Patriarch's Imperial Token, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Summon Monster Shepherd, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Summon Ranch Monster Fog Monster Control, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Fog Monster, Communication, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Fog Monster Taming, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Fog Monster Control, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Fog Monster Berserk, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Fog Monster Taming, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Fog Monster Control, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Fog Monster Berserk, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Fog Monster Appease, White Platinum Tier Elementary Grade. Loyalty, 100 Dead Loyal. Potential, Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade. Zhou nodded. Not bad. His potential had directly increased from Diamond Tier Advanced Grade to Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade. Moreover, even though his life class was still the Monster Ranch Lord, his combat class had changed from Monster Shepherd to a higher-level Monster Patriarch. Zhou looked at the specific information of the 30 white-robed women behind him. He realized that their combat class was the Monster Clergyman class from before Mu Gu. Presumably, Mu Gu, the Monster Patriarch, controlled this group of Monster Shepherds. When Mu Gu saw Zhou's gaze land on the 30 Monster Shepherds behind him, he suddenly asked in a low voice, "Does my lord need them to serve you? Even though they are Monster Shepherds, they actually have the ability to serve others. They can satisfy my lord if you need them. Aaliyah and the other two are still a little young after all. There are some things that they don't understand." "What nonsense are you talking about?" Zhou Zhou pushed Mugu away with a dark expression before he could finish speaking. He never expected this. Mugu, you're actually so lewd. You're usually so silent. I thought you were only interested in fog monsters. But then again, these 30 monster shepherds are indeed very beautiful. Coupled with this white clergyman outfit, and the ersatz exoticism, Zhou Zhou held back from thinking too much and said, "Talk to Zhao Changshu about upgrading the monster ranch, and ask him to build 15 new monster ranches with you. We can satisfy as much manpower and resources as you need. We must build them all before tonight. I want to use all 30 monster ranches at the same time tomorrow." "Yes, my lord." When Mugu talked about serious matters, he returned to his previous cold state. Those who did not know better would think that he was a handsome ascetic. Half an hour later, the 15 monster ranches had been completely cleaned up. With the effect of the perfect loots and his titles, he obtained a total of 461,256 green bronze tier mist cores, 183,355 white silver tier mist cores, 102,554 yellow gold tier mist cores, 41,002 white platinum tier mist cores, and 1,250 diamond tier mist cores, 219,633 soldier type class change certificates, 5,612 sword shield soldier recruitment books, 5,213 Pudeo soldiers recruitment books, 5,896 poison crossbow soldier recruitment books, 384 elemental archer recruitment books, 18,362 aurora cavalry recruitment books, 35,000 violent storm spirit recruitment books, 35,000 violent storm spirit class change certificates, 72 proof of legion fragments, 76,325 true faith tier scarlet crystals, 11,022 pious tier scarlet crystals, 8,012 fanatic tier scarlet crystals, 24 white platinum tier and yellow gold tier mount contracts. As for loots such as the light drawing crystal, the tree core gem, and the elemental gem, there was no need to elaborate. Zhou Zhou was quite satisfied when he saw the list. Due to the white platinum tier loots that had already appeared in the 13 white platinum tier elementary grade monster ranches, these loots added up to almost 2 to 3 times the value of the ranch products in the past. As for the number of soldier type recruitment books, it also increased greatly. The number of soldier type recruitment books produced today alone reached 7,593. It was comparable to the number of monster subordinates that Zhou Zhou had instigated from the 600,000 strong fog army today. Zhou Zhou handed the 70,000-odd recruitment books to his subordinates to summon through the Gate of Summoning. Then he took out 200,000 soldier-type class change certificates and excess loots from these loots and threw them into the marketplace. Then he looked at the advancement of the human soldiers. A total of 91,225 of the 200,000 soldiers who cleared the monster ranch this time had been promoted. Among them, 2,013 had advanced to the Black Iron Tier Intermediate Grade and Black Iron Tier Advanced Grade. 27,124 people advanced from Black Iron Tier to Green Bronze Tier. 29,630 people advanced to the White Silver Tier. 11,204 people advanced to Yellow Gold Tier. 1,254 people had broken through to the White Platinum Tier. He now had a total of 658,245 subordinates. Among them were 97,690 Black Iron Tier soldiers. There were 233,493 Bronze Tier soldiers. There were 132,583 White Silver Tier. There were 139,421 Yellow Gold Tier. There were 41,680 White Platinum Tier, 1,366 Diamond Tier, 15 Extraordinary Tier. Zhou Zhou nodded slightly. He felt even more confident about today's trip to the final battlefield. At this time, other than the lords of the Zergs who had specialties in breeding, his military strength could definitely be ranked at the front of the lords of all races. He was more confident that he could be ranked in the top 3 in terms of the quality of his troops. If it was a comprehensive ranking of the number and quality of troops, Zhou even felt that he was probably the lord at the top of the current lords of all races. Zhou only had the confidence to fight with the lords of those abnormal races for the position of the strongest lord of all races, because of the existence of Nazario, Bai Yin, Wuxia, and other heroic generals. After that, he did not stay in the monster ranch. Instead, he returned to the lord's shop beside the beginner-grade lord's paradise. "Old Zhou, has the new goods arrived?" Zhou stood outside the counter and asked. At this moment, Zhou Qingmin was sitting on the sofa, drinking tea and watching a television that he had obtained from somewhere. It was actually playing the former entertainment program of the Cerulean planet. After hearing Zhou's words, Zhou Qinglin stood up with a chuckle and walked in front of him. We're here. As he spoke, he took out 3 boxes from under the counter and placed them in front of Zhou. Chapter 421 Hero Skill Commodity. This lord shop really had a preference for personal talent goods. Zhou could not help but think. He had only had the lord shop for a few days. How many personal talent goods had appeared already? He shook his head and stopped thinking about it. Then he continued to look at the talent crystal. Talent. Ability to grasp situation thoroughly. Talent effect. Your observation skills are naturally incomparably subtlety. You can see everything clearly, and even observe the intrinsic nature of things from the surface. Zhou looked at this talent thoughtfully. Actually, he had once chatted with Wuxia about this personal talent out of curiosity. According to Wuxia himself, other than giving him the abilities described above, the ability to grasp situation thoroughly also gave him very sharp intuition and the ability to quickly think and make judgments. This was even very useful in his learning of military formations. The path of military formations. What he valued the most was his ability to control the army. Ability to grasp situation thoroughly could allow him to see at a glance which part of the army was not perfect when learning military formations. From there, he could make corrections in time and quickly increase the speed at which he learned military formations. This also made him a genius at learning military formations at that time. Later on, after becoming a hero, he mastered the hero skill, desired military morale. This made him even more familiar with controlling the army. His ability to learn and control military formations had also increased significantly. It could be said that ability to grasp situation thoroughly looked very simple. However, if used well, it could completely make the owner of the talent become a cheat-like figure in terms of human heart and military morale. Thinking of this, Zhou immediately became interested in this person's talent. In terms of the human heart, Zhou had high-level telepathy and could completely see through people's hearts. This was naturally stronger than the ability to grasp situation thoroughly. However, ability to grasp situation thoroughly was still quite useful to him in terms of observation ability and the use of military formations. Zhou stopped thinking and learned directly. Zhou Qinglin smiled when he saw this and did not say anything. Learning it was equivalent to buying it. He just needed to pay for the missed core later. Zhou was soon in possession of this personal talent. There doesn't seem to be any difference other than feeling that I can notice more details. Zhou tried this personal talent for a while before feeling a little puzzled. He did not think too much about it. Perhaps this place was not suitable for this talent to be used. Then he looked at the next item. It was a branch that emitted an emerald green light. It was a diamond tier elementary grade wood elf's bloodline. Zhou shook his head. This was useless to him. At most, they could be bought to water the sacred blood flower. Then he looked at the last item. It was a skill book. Hero skill, desired military morale. Zhou, I'm not a hero. What's the use of giving me a hero skill? My lord, why don't you take a closer look at these goods? Just as Zhou was about to question him, Zhou Qinglin suddenly smiled and said. Zhou was stunned for a moment before looking over. Hero skill, desired military morale. Level special, skill effect 1. When a hero controls an army, he can clearly sense the morale of the army under his command. He can even specifically sense the thoughts, attitudes, and moods of the soldiers regarding war. Skill Effect 2. Heroes can ignore distance and communicate telepathically with the designated soldiers, groups of soldiers, and even all the soldiers under their command. Skill Effect 3. A hero who has mastered the desired military morale. When controlling the army, it can make it easier for the soldiers to believe in him and the army to obey his orders. Moreover, it can slightly increase the morale of your own army when the morale of the army is low. Lord Shop Hint. This hero skill book is produced in the Lord Shop. The Lord can also learn it. Ha! Zhou widened his eyes and realized that there was a notification at the end. Lords could learn it too. He could really buy this hero skill in that case. As a lord, even though Wuxia, Bai Yun, and the other generals were in the territory, and he did not need to personally go to the battlefield to command, however, as a lord, it was always good to master some ability to control the army. Moreover, with the desired military morale and the personal talent he had just obtained, ability to grasp situation thoroughly, he might be able to try learning the greedy wolf howling moon array. Thinking of this, Zhou chose to learn it immediately. Soon, he had mastered this skill. It was different from a closed door. After learning the hero skill, desired military morale, a special energy appeared in his body. Zhou could feel that this energy was specially used to activate hero skills. Let's call it the power of a hero for the time being. He tried to drive it to take a look and realized that the power of this hero could be converted with a large amount of normal energy. Fortunately, as a chaos human, not only was the energy in Zhou's body of high quality, but there was also a lot of it. The consumption of converting the power of a hero was not too high. Zhou felt the power of the hero in his body and looked at the hero skills in the skill column. He could not help but nod in satisfaction. He did not become a hero, but he mastered the hero skill in advance. There were probably not many life forms in the entire high continent who could do something like this, right? As expected of the mythical tier, the only lord talent that can compare to the king of lutes. He can even do such a thing that goes against common sense. Zhou clicked his tongue in wonder. Then he looked at Zhou Qinglin. He'll buy all three of them. How many Miss Cores are there in total? He asked. Even though the Wood Elf's bloodline was useless to him, it was not a problem to feed the sacred blood fruit. Talent, ability to grasp situation thoroughly, worth 50 extraordinary tier mist cores, and 5 extraordinary tier territory tokens. Diamond tier elementary grade Wood Elf's bloodline is worth 20 diamond tier mist cores, and 2 diamond tier territory tokens. Hero skill desired military morale. It's worth 30 epic tier mist cores and 3 epic tier territory tokens. Zhou Qinglin said. He heaved a sigh of relief. The goods this time were cheap. There were actually less than 4 legendary tier mist cores in total. For a moment, he was not used to it. Zhou's expression was a little strange. He took out 33 epic tier mist cores, 55 extraordinary tier mist cores, and 22 diamond tier mist cores from the heavenly mist treasure bag, and handed them to the other party. Thank you for your business. Zhou Qinglin took it with a smile. If the goods are good, they'll naturally come again next time. But it would be even better if the goods were cheaper. Zhou could not help but say, this is the price set by the supreme will. I can't make the decision, old Zhou. Zhou Qinglin shook his head. Supreme will, can the goods in the Lord shop be cheaper next time? Zhou thought for a moment and asked tentatively. He was a lord who was being watched by the supreme will. Usually, even though the supreme will would not speak most of the time, it would still answer some key questions. He did not know if the supreme will would respond to such a matter. Zhou did not have much expectations. However, in the next second, supreme will notification. The goods in the Lord shop are all based on your own value. You can't lower the price unless you have a designated discount item. Chapter 422 Talent attracted by reputation rating. Suan, Night Empire. Zhou was shocked. He really responded? How could he respond to such a small matter? However, Zhou thought about it and understood. After all, this was related to the Lord talent. As the existence that created the Lord Talent, the Supreme Will would indeed answer most of the questions in this aspect. He did not ask further, lest the Supreme Will felt that he had too much to do. It would be bad if he ignored him. At this moment, a notification came from the marketplace. Zhou took a look and realized that the soldier-type class change certificate and other goods he had just put up had been sold. Trade result: 812,459,665 black iron tier mist cores. He had earned 8 small goals. Not bad. However, compared to the previous profit of 12.5 billion, these 8 small goals were a little boring. Zhou calmly transferred the mist cores into his heavenly mist treasure bag. My lord, there's a wounded stranger on our property. Before he fainted, he claimed that he was here to join our territory. At this moment, Bai Yin came over and said respectfully, "Why are you telling me such a small matter? Find someone to investigate his background. If the other party isn't a great villain, we can just put him in the Blazing Sun family." Zhou was puzzled, reporting to my lord, "This person is very strong. But he's not a hero." Bai Yin said respectfully. Zhou raised his eyebrows. Someone that even Bai Yin said was strong, could it be? What's his name? Where is he? Zhou asked. The other party calls himself Suan. I've already gotten someone to bring him to Bai Yujing's place for treatment. However, Old Bai said that this person's injuries are extremely serious. It's possible to treat him, but I'm afraid it will take some time. Bai Yin said. Zhou was deep in thought. Sounds like my reputation rating talent has arrived? Has he joined our Blazing Sun territory? Zhou suddenly asked. Already in. Bai Yin nodded. Take him to the shelter of the goddess of life, and get those clergymen to treat him. He must be cured as soon as possible. When he's better, bring him to me. Zhou said. Doctors were very good at treating illnesses. However, in terms of healing injuries, it had to be said that those clerics who had mastered the divine art were more useful. Yes, my lord. Bai Yin nodded, and went to make the arrangements. A moment later, Bai Yin walked over with a man. The other party was thin, and wore a black and red martial artist battle suit. On his right chest was the word scratch. His hair was messy, his eyes were blank, and there were obvious bags under his eyes. At the same time, he held a blood-colored longsword that emitted a faint blood-colored light, and kept swinging it as he walked. Surprisingly, the blood-colored sword did not move much, but a visible afterimage appeared. Greetings, my lord. He's the new subject, Suan, who just joined our Blazing Sun territory. Suan, greetings, my lord. The other party followed suit. Zhou nodded and suddenly said seriously, Why did you come to see me with a sword? That's very rude. I think it's because I lost my scabbard. Suan scratched his messy head and said uncertainty. Looks like. I'm sorry, my lord. I seem to have lost my memory. I only remember that this blood shadow sword is a very important companion of mine. It can't leave my hand at all times. As for the other memories, I only remember the basics. I've forgotten most of the rest. Suan said shamefully. Amnesia. Zhou was speechless. What kind of cliché plot is this? He squinted at the other party's head. Should I bump into him again to help him recover his memories? Suan watched as his lord kept looking at his head. For some reason, he suddenly felt a chill down his spine. Seeing him like this, Zhou looked away. With his high-level telepathy, he could sense that the other party's heart was blank. Everything he said came from the bottom of his heart. It seemed that he had really lost her memory. Are your injuries healed? Zhou asked. Thank you for your help, my lord. Those young ladies' techniques are very good. I've completely recovered. When Suan said this, his eyes lit up. Zhou. Why did he suddenly feel that this person was unreliable? Then, he looked at the other party's personal information. From the looks of it, Zhou was shocked. Subject, Suan, territory, Blazing Sun City, combat class name, Knight Rakshasa, class, epic tier elementary grade. Ability overview, an orphan from a destroyed empire. He was taken away by Knight Rakshasa Tower from the Knight Empire, and began assassin training with other children. When he grew up, he stood out with his epic tier elementary grade strength, and became a Knight Rakshasa. that only a legendary tier child of the night could become. Later on, he was seriously injured during a mission and lost most of his memories. However, he still retained his assassination skills as a top assassin. Skills: talent, natural assassin talent, danger premonition talent, strong concealment talent, breathless walking talent, dragon slaying will, epic tier elementary grade 7 deaths book, epic tier elementary grade blood shadow sword skill, epic tier elementary grade blood shadow kill, epic tier elementary grade boundless blood shadow, epic tier elementary grade child of the night constitution, epic tier elementary grade hidden during the day, epic tier elementary grade empty step, elementary grade epic tier creating an empty puppet, epic tier elementary grade dark night screen, epic tier elementary grade physique strengthening, epic tier elementary grade corpse sorting and preservation, epic tier elementary grade faking death. Loyalty: 85. Potential: mid-level deity advanced grade. My good lord. Epic tier elementary grade? Zhou clicked his tongue. Say no more. This must be the legendary talent attracted by his reputation rating. Otherwise, why would such a strong person come to be his subject without any requests? What surprised Zhou was that the other party was actually a dragon slayer. As the dragon slayer king, naturally, he knew that the last descendant of the dragon slayer was still surviving in this world. Some of them knew their backgrounds, and some of them did not even know what a dragon slayer was. The other party was so young. He should be a descendant of a dragon slayer. As for the Night Empire, Zhou had heard of it from Wu Tuesday. It was an empire-level faction, more than 500,000 kilometers away from the Titan Kingdom. It was only recorded in books, and very few people had seen it even in the Titan Kingdom. He did not expect this guy to come from the Night Empire. Welcome to Blazing Sun territory. By the way, how did you get here? Zhou asked curiously. I forgot, Suan said straightforwardly. Zhou nodded and gave up on asking. He had probably forgotten. In a while, we'll go to a battlefield. At that time, you can follow me. Let's see what you're made of. Oh yes. To avoid misunderstandings. When you're with us, you'd better bring a scabbard for your sword. To avoid accidentally injuring others. Zhou said. Sure. Suan nodded. Zhou smiled. An epic tier elementary grade powerhouse would be entering the battlefield with him. It seemed that he had gained a lot from today's trip to the final battlefield. Chapter 423 Luke hires to the rescue. Zhou looked at Suan in front of him. The more he looked at him, the more satisfied he was. Not only had Suan reached the epic tier elementary grade, but he was also the strongest person in the Blazing Sun territory. Moreover, the other party's potential had also reached the mid-level deity advanced grade. One had to know that the other party did not rely on anything. In fact, his potential had reached this level without even a hero slot. It could be seen how amazing the other party's potential was. At this moment a soldier walked over. Reporting to my lord. There's a lord at the Night Temple who wants to come and see you. He claims to be Luke Hire. The soldier said respectfully. Luke Hire. Zhou was stunned. She came back after meeting her teacher? He still remembered that Luke Hire said that she would return before she left last time. He didn't expect her to really return. Zhou did not think too much about it, and asked the soldier to bring Luke Hire over. Soon, Luke Hire arrived in front of Zhou. I'm here again. Luke Hire said excitedly. Then, she widened her eyes and looked at Zhou in disbelief. Why are you at Diamond Tier Elementary grade? I remember the last time I saw you, weren't you only at the Yellow Gold Tier level? She stuttered. She had seen many experts, but she was the first to see such a huge increase in strength in such a short period of time like Zhou. I have my fortuitous encounters. Zhou smiled and did not explain further. The Supreme will really favors you guys. Luke Hire was stunned for a moment before muttering softly. Then she didn't think too much about it. She looked at the surrounding soldiers and said expectantly, Are you going out to fight? Can you bring me along? Even though I'm not good at fighting, I'm a very powerful battlefield doctor. I can help you treat many injured people, and I don't need any compensation. Why did you do that? If you want to repay me for resurrecting you, there's no need. The Night Temple has already given me the reward. Zhou was puzzled. I'm a doctor hero after all. How many lords want me to join their territory and help them treat the injured? How can you ask me why? Lu Kai'er did not understand Zhou's thoughts even more than he did upon hearing Zhou's question. The first reason why I said that is because I'm very curious about your territory. This is because in our entire human race, no human lords managed to master the method to revive others, even in the empire-level human factions. However, you actually did this in such a short period of time, after coming to the High Continent. Moreover, you performed very well in other aspects, so I wanted to come and take a look. Of course, don't misunderstand. I'm not here to gather information. I'm just curious. Secondly, it's about what you said. You revived me, and you seem to need help now, so I thought of coming over to help you. For me, treating the sick and injured is my specialty. Lu Kai'er said matter-of-factly. The place I want to go is only accessible to my subjects. Zhou shook his head. This was the rule of the final battlefield, and he could not change it. Why is it like this? Lu Kai'er was stunned. Obviously, she did not expect this situation. However, she frowned and thought for a while. Suddenly, she tilted her head and said, I'll temporarily join your territory. You can remove my status as your subject later on, right? Can I do that? Let me try. Zhou first added Lu Kai'er to his Blazing Sun territory, before trying to bring her into the final battlefield. In the end, everything went smoothly until he faltered at the last step. The final battlefield reminded him that Lu Kai'er was not allowed to join for the time being, because her class was too high, and she had a hero slot. He couldn't even bring in external help. Zhou was helpless. However, he could only tell Lu Kai'er this news. What am I supposed to do? I really want to help. Lu Kai'er was also at a loss. How about this? You can stay in my territory for now. If my subordinates are injured, I will immediately send them back to the territory. You and my territory's doctor can treat them then. If you really want to find something to do, you can teach the doctors in my territory some medical knowledge. This way they can save more people. You can be considered to have helped me a lot. Currently, he had more than 600,000 soldiers under his command. Even if Bai Yin and Wu Xian activated two greedy wolf avatars at the same time, they could not completely shelter all of the soldiers. Therefore, the days of fighting without any injuries were over. The doctors and clergymen were going to be busy again. Hence, he was not wrong. Okay, I'm good at this. Lu Kai'er's eyes lit up when she heard Zhou's words. She came from a famous medical family, and was the personal disciple of the Holy Light Physician King. The medical knowledge she knew was something that many normal physicians could not come into contact with. Hence, she was still very confident that she could teach the doctors in Zhou's territory. Zhou nodded. The lords cheered. After the Insight defection yesterday, they had gained a lot of new troops. In addition, Insight defection had been refreshed again. Therefore they, who wanted to show off their skills, were already filled with anticipation for the final battlefield. Therefore, after receiving news from their leader, they immediately began to prepare their troops to head to Blazing Sun territory. If other lords who didn't know better saw this scene, it would be hard to imagine that they were actually a group of lords who specialized in life professions, and not lords who specialized in combat. A moment later, the 311 lords were all present. The number of soldiers they led added up to more than 600,000. Among them were more than 500,000 subordinates. They were all subordinates of the monster. It was the 311 lords who had turned the tables yesterday. When Zhou saw this scene, even though he was already prepared, he could not help but take a deep breath. Was this the power of the Lord Alliance? In just one day, these 311 lords had almost caught up to the total military strength of the two armies under his command. He was silent for a while before a smile appeared on his face. Establishing the Lord Alliance was indeed the right choice. This was only the result on the first day. Now if he led these people and his own people, he would have more than 36 million soldiers. This was already comparable to the strength of a basic kingdom. It was even stronger than some newly established basic kingdoms. Moreover, This was only the first day. In the future, Zhou did not even dare to imagine how quickly his military strength would expand. Still, the more soldiers the better. In this world of the Lord of all races, no lord would despise having too many soldiers under his command. Chapter 424 Returning to the Final Battlefield. The solitary Suan. Moreover, the other lords might feel uneasy, because they had too many soldiers and generals under their command, afraid that the people underground would rebel and seize their power. However, Zhou would not feel that way. This was because he had peace and prosperity. No matter how many soldiers he had under his command, he did not have to worry about betrayal. This was destined to be his loyal army that had always belonged to him. At the same time, the 311 lords opposite Zhou looked at the million-strong army and were a little excited. They had never thought that as a lord, they would actually be able to see this scene today. Moreover, he was one of the protagonists himself. Looking at the million-strong army in front of them with burning morale, all the lords believed without hesitation that their star alliance was the strongest lord alliance in the entire Cerulean planet. They believed this with all their heart, even though it had just been established. On the other side, Lu Kai'er, who had just joined the Blazing Sun territory, was also stunned when she saw the million-strong army. She could not help but hesitate. So many people. She probably won't be able to treat them in time, even if she was a diamond-tier elementary-grade doctor hero. Wuxia, send another Starry Night. No, send all of them. Zhou thought to himself. One Starry Night could hold at most 1 million of the 36 million troops in front of them. In addition, they needed another one to store loots. Therefore, they needed at least 3 Starry Nights for today's trip to the final battlefield. As for the other Starry Nights, he would bring them as backup. Yes, my lord, Wuxia replied. Soon, 9 Starry Nights flew over and hovered above the million-strong army. Under the arrangements of Bai Yun and the others, the 36 million troops entered 2 Starry Nights in an orderly manner. Then the clergy, war machinery and supplies teams, as well as the other battlefield personnel entered Starry Night. After everything was ready, Zhou returned to the final battlefield. The final battlefield. The blood-colored sun hung high in the sky, emitting a scarlet light that illuminated the blood-colored ground. A star-like dreamy spaceship was flying and hiding in space. Occasionally, sporadic Scarlet Lord forces of all races, and some special forces would appear on the blood-colored ground below it. However, most of them did not notice the spaceships flying in space. Even if some existences noticed it, they were not interested in chasing after it or shrinking back from the extreme flying speed of the Starry Night. At this moment, buzz, 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 buzz. 9 consecutive hums sounded. Then, 9 identical Starry Night spaceships appeared out of thin air on both sides of the Starry Night. Then, they immediately activated spatial invisibility and flew at the same time as the Starry Night in the middle. In the Starry Night in the middle, Zhou sat in the main seat of the captain's cabin and looked at the chat group in front of him. Lord of the Blazing Sun, how do you feel? You don't feel seasick, right? Laughing. My lord, you must be joking. This Starry Night doesn't move at all when it flies. Who would get seasick? Spaceship experience maxed out. I'm in the cabin. I feel good. President, when are you going to start? My saber is already unbearably hungry. Ahem, can everyone act more like life professionals? Haha, we're probably the life professionals that don't act like life professionals at all. I feel that this is quite good, haha. The lords were all very excited and harmonious. Zhou smiled when he saw this. Wuxia, how far are we from the destruction violent storm now? If we stop, how long will it take for the destruction violent storm to catch up to us? Zhou asked. He had to pay attention to the shrinking circle no matter what. Reporting to my lord, we are already 3,176,420,000 kilometers away from the destruction violent storm, after a night of flying at maximum power. If we stop moving, the destruction violent storm will sweep to our location in only 10 hours. When you immediately report it, 10 hours is enough. Then stop. Zhou said in a low voice. Yes, my lord. When you replied. As soon as he finished speaking, the 10 starry knights stopped in unison, but they were still in spatial concealment. It shows the Scarlet Lord faction, and the Lord faction of all races that you discovered during your night of flying. To showcase a faction that can be broken through by today. Zhou said in a low voice. The next second, a virtual map representing the final battlefield appeared in front of him. There was a dense red dot on it. On closer look, there were nearly 100,000 of them. These red dots were of different sizes. The larger the red dot, the stronger the power and strength. However, no matter how strong he was still within their range under Wenya's precise calculations. Zhou looked at the red dots and nodded. Then, he immediately held a Lord conference. As he shared the map with them, he told them that he was about to set off to attack the Scarlet Lord faction and the Lord faction of all races. Most of the Lord members were inclined to attack the Scarlet Lord's strength. After all, the Scarlet Lord had many more subordinates than most lords of the myriad races. With a wave of insight defection, he could also instigate more subordinates. Zhou had no objections. After all, 20% of the insight defection's military strength was his. Since they had decided to attack the Scarlet Lord faction, Zhou decided to lead his army to attack the Lord faction of all races, to obtain the ranking points on them, and increase his ranking level. In the last 2 days, he had to increase his ranking as much as possible. Otherwise, he might not have the fate of being the strongest lord of all races. After making up their minds, Zhou and the others immediately began to take action. First was the distribution of the Starry Night. Among the 10 Starry Knights, he distributed 2 to the Lord members, and asked them to find the strongest Scarlet Lord faction, to instigate insight defection to their heart's content. Among the 10 Starry Knights, he distributed 2 to the Lord members, and asked them to find the strongest Scarlet Lord faction, to instigate insight defection to their heart's content. He also had to bring his 760,000 soldiers to deal with the strongest Lord faction among these red dots. In one of the Starry Nights, Zhou was in a meeting with the generals. I plan to split the 8 Starry Knights into 2 parts and fight separately. I will bring Bai Yun, Wuxia and Nazario, and most of the troops with 7 Starry Knights to find the strongest Lord faction of all races and deal with them. As for the last Starry Night, he'll leave behind 50,000 yellow gold tier soldiers, 10,000 white platinum tier soldiers, 300 diamond tier soldiers, and 2 extraordinary tier generals. And you? Zhou's gaze landed on Suen, who was sitting in the corner. Suen, he'll leave this Star Knight and the soldiers to you. As a top-notch assassin, I request you to bring this Starry Knight and the soldiers to hunt those non-human lords of all races. I don't need you to deal with the subordinates of those lords. You just need to deal with the lords themselves, and bring their corpses back to see me. Can you do that? Zhou looked at Suen. The rule of the final battlefield was that as long as the lord died, even if the soldiers under his command were not injured at all, the lord who killed the lord could obtain all the other parties' ranking points. That was why Zhou arranged this. Of course, he also wanted to use this opportunity to see the strength of this Knight Rakshasa. Leave it to me. Facing the unfamiliar yet familiar assassination quests, a certain cold characteristic gradually awakened in Suan's blank eyes. The blood shadow sword behind him was also trembling slightly. It was as if it was excited and looking forward to it. Chapter 425 Light Spirit Dragon Lord. Negotiation. Zhou nodded, and did not say anything else. He got his subordinates to split up. As for him, he followed Bai Yun, Wuxia, and the others to hunt down the lords of all races. A moment later, above a blood-colored city occupied by a lord of all races, 7 Starry Knights were looking down at the lords below. Only creatures that could sense the power of space could discover the Starry Night. And there was clearly no such existence among the lord of all races below. Therefore, even though Zhou and company had been observing them for a while, they had not discovered them. In the middlemost starry night, Zhou was looking at the forces of the Lord of all races through the virtual screen. A total of 26 dragons covered in pale white dragon scales and emitting pale white fluorescent light were gathered here. Every dragon emitted a terrifying dragon might that was enough to make ordinary life forms of the normal race retreat. It's actually the Lord of the Light Spirit Dragon Clan. I didn't expect to encounter a lord of this level as soon as I came up. Zhou lamented. The Light Spirit Dragon was a pure-blooded dragon comparable to the Lava Dragon. They were definitely amongst the top lords. However, the order he gave Wuxia was to find whichever red dot was bigger. Zhou was not surprised to meet such a powerful lord. Or rather, this was the opponent he wanted. Do it. Let's get this over with. Zhou stopped thinking and said calmly, these light spirit dragons were limited by the fact that their bloodline was too high level and required too much promotion energy. Currently, the strongest lord was only at the yellow gold tier elementary grade. The others were all below the yellow gold tier elementary grade. To the current Zhou, it was not even as threatening as the territory of a white platinum tier scarlet lord. Yes, my lord. Bai Yun and Wu Xian accepted the order. Then, they immediately gathered the soldiers and flew out of the starry night. As they flew, 400,000 of them activated the greedy wolf howling moon array and transformed into 2 greedy wolf avatars. They landed on the ground with a bang. The remaining 300,000 soldiers landed behind the greedy wolf avatar and stared at the light spirit dragons like tigers and wolves. So what if they were enemies with the dragon clan? No matter how strong the dragons were, they had become pets under their lord. Therefore, even though they were facing such a mythical tier creature, the Blazing Sun Territory's soldiers weren't too afraid. Instead, they were eager to give it a try. Not to mention, all of them had the dragon-slaying will. If it weren't for the fact that their lord had told them not to use the power of the dragon slayer easily outside, they would have let these light spirit dragons know where the title of dragon slayer came from. How? The 2 extraordinary tier greedy wolf avatars seemed to have sensed the soldiers' endless fighting spirit and roared arrogantly at the sky. These 2 wolf howls instantly attracted the 26 light spirit dragons in the distant city. When they saw that the 2 greedy wolf avatars actually dared to give them such a ferocious gaze, they instantly felt offended, as if they had seen ants wanting to eat tigers. Roar! An extremely angry dragon roar sounded, and the 26 light spirit dragons flapped their dragon wings and flew into the sky. An even more terrifying dragon might erupted from the 26 light spirit dragons and focused on suppressing the 2 greedy wolf avatars and the human soldiers behind them accompanied by dragon roars. However, in the next second, something unbelievable happened. The dragon might that they were so proud of was actually useless against these little bugs. These little bugs only stood on the spot and looked at them, as if they were looking at a dead dragon. The dragons were extremely intelligent and instantly realized that something was wrong. Then they discovered something unbelievable. The 2 tall greedy wolf avatars had reached the limit of the extraordinary tier. The human soldiers behind them were also extremely powerful. There was no lack of yellow gold tier and white platinum tier human soldiers. There were even diamond and extraordinary tier human experts. You call this a lord of all races? And a lord faction of the human race at that? Are you kidding me? At this moment, the light spirit dragons began to doubt their dragon life. They even felt that the Supreme Will had made a mistake and sent the indigenous forces of the human race to the final battlefield. Otherwise, how could there be so many human experts? Just as both sides were ready to attack. In the starry night, Zhou looked at the situation below, where the battle was about to begin. After a few seconds he looked behind him. Nazario and Auguste were standing behind him, looking at the 26 light spirit dragons, displayed on the virtual screen, with complicated expressions. Can't bear to see us fight the dragon clan? Zhou suddenly said. The 2 pure-blooded dragons shook their heads hurriedly. You don't have to do that. Pure-blooded dragons are rare to begin with. If you encounter other dragons in your life, there's an 80% chance that you'll become friends. Now that we see so many pure-blooded dragons as our enemies below, you will definitely have some thoughts. I can understand. Zhou shook his head. Hearing this, Nazario and Auguste remained silent. Their lord's words had hit the nail on the head. However, they also understood their position and knew who they were loyal to. Therefore, even if they were enemies with their own race, they would definitely not say no. Since you're my favorite subordinates, I can give them a chance. At this moment, Zhou said slowly, you can go and try to recruit these pure-blooded dragons. If they are willing to surrender, I can spare their lives and give them the same treatment as the Blazing Sun Territory subjects. However, if they refuse to surrender, then the only thing waiting for them is death. At that time, don't blame me for not giving them a chance. Zhou said in a low voice. Nazario and Auguste looked at each other in surprise. They immediately flew out of Starry Night without saying anything and hovered in midair, roaring at the light spirit dragon below. The 26 light spirit dragons quickly discovered Nazario and Auguste. They looked a little surprised. Clearly, they did not expect two pure-blooded dragons with bloodlines comparable to theirs to appear in the Human Lord's faction. Then, the tallest light spirit dragon flew out from them and communicated with Nazario and Auguste. It was the lord of these light spirit dragons. In the following time, Nazario and Auguste kept communicating with the light spirit dragon lord. The humans on Zhou's side could not understand what they were saying. Only Zhou and the other light spirit dragons, who had received the dragon race's inheritance, could understand what they were talking about. However, even though Zhou's subordinates did not accept the inheritance of the dragon race, they could tell from the increasingly obvious anger on Nazario and Auguste's faces, and the increasingly loud dragon roars, that the process of communication between the two sides did not seem to be going too well. Chapter 426 Special Quality +1 as expected. In less than a moment, Nazario and Auguste broke off their negotiation. The light spirit dragon lord let out an angry and disdainful dragon roar. Then it opened its mouth and spat out a dragon breath that emitted a scorching white light at Auguste. Light dragon breath. This was the dragon breath that belonged exclusively to the light spirit dragon. It contained a strong power of light and had an extremely strong restraining effect on the chaos series of elementals. This was obviously a great threat to Auguste, which was a spectral dragon. However, in the next second, Nazario appeared in front of it. It looked at the light spirit dragon angrily and opened its mouth to spew out a black-red destructive dragon breath that shot towards the light dragon breath. As soon as the two came into contact, the destruction dragon breath shattered the light dragon breath with absolute suppression. Then, it advanced rapidly and directly hit the light spirit dragon's lord. In a split second, the lord of the light spirit dragon was blasted to the ground and was on the verge of death. The other 25 light spirit dragons were stunned when they saw this scene. Nazario watched the scene coldly. The difference between it and the other party was too great. As the white platinum tier advanced grade dragon king of volcano and destruction, it was naturally easy for it to defeat a yellow gold tier elementary grade light spirit dragon that was not even a hero. The next second, the other light spirit dragons reacted. Faced with the absolute difference in strength, the 25 light spirit dragons were not afraid, nor did they choose to surrender. Instead, they charged towards Nazario, the two greedy wolf avatars, and the other human soldiers in a determined manner. Kill! The humans were naturally not afraid at all. The dragon slaying will roared in their souls, making them hold their arms and charge fearlessly at the light spirit dragons. Boom! The two sides collided in the blink of an eye, and then an incomparably intense battle ensued. In the starry night, Zhou shook his head slightly when he saw the battle below. He had heard and understood the conversation between Nazario and the other lord. Nazario had intentionally persuaded the other party to surrender, and it was the kind that was sincere. However, the lord of the light spirit dragon was too arrogant. It was unwilling to lead its subjects in lowering their noble heads and bow down to the human lord. It was unwilling even if the other party's strength and faction were much stronger than it. Zhou shook his head at this thought. This was the nature of pure-blooded dragons. Most pure-blooded dragons were so proud. They were unwilling to let go of their pride even if they died. This could even be said to be a personality bestowed by the Creator. So in the history of the world, very few dragons took the initiative to become subdued. The most popular stories were mostly the glorious stories of the dragon slayer warrior bathing in dragon blood. From this, it could be seen how unyielding the dragons were. Towards this, Zhou felt that it was a pity. He really wanted to subdue these pure-blooded dragons. However, as for why Nazario and Auguste were angry in the end, it was because they had said something degrading about their lord. An utter humiliation to their lord. As Zhou's deadly loyal subjects, Nazario and Auguste naturally wouldn't tolerate such words. They attacked it angrily and severely injured it. A moment later, your pet, Dragon King of Volcano and Destruction, Nazario killed a yellow gold tier elementary grade light spirit dragon lord, Lord of Broken Light, Lord of all races. Promotion energy plus 10,000. Loots condensed. Blessing of the War God. Your pet Dragon King of Volcano and Destruction, Nazario has received an additional 200,000 promotion energy points. Congratulations, Lord of the Blazing Sun, for successfully killing the Lord of the Blue Blood race, Lord Lanyu, Lord of all races. The Lord's rank is Extraordinary Tier Advanced Grade. You have obtained 10 million, plus 4,761,300 ranking points in the final battlefield. When Zhou saw the 3 lines of notifications, he could not help but smile. He actually obtained more than 76 million battlefield basic ranking points by killing a lord. Wasn't this much better than killing a low-level lord? How many low-level lords did he have to kill to gather more than 14 million basic ranking points? Awesome! It's indeed right to directly deal with the powerful lords. Zhou nodded in satisfaction. Then he looked at the rankings. Original Spirit Race, True Lord Rank, 13,276,252,300. Ranking on the final battlefield, First place. Chaos God's Race, Great One Lord, Level, 12,611,301,000. Ranking on the final battlefield, Second. Machina Race, Lord Father Rank, 12,413,907,750. Ranking on the final battlefield, Third. Cerulean Planet Human Race, Lord of the Blazing Sun, Level, 11, 6 billion. Ranking on the final battlefield, Fifth. Fifth place. These guys are not easy to deal with. Zhou took a deep breath. However, he was not too worried even though his ranking had decreased. This was because he had only made a small fuss yesterday, and could be considered to have a preliminary understanding of the situation in the final battlefield. Today was the day for him to show off his skills. Now I've just taken care of the first enemy of the day, and my remaining targets are still more than 100,000. I don't believe that I won't be able to surpass you after 10 hours of hunting. Zhou was calm. He did not lose his senses just because his ranking was surpassed. If he still couldn't surpass them today, he would wait until tomorrow. His strength was increasing by leaps and bounds every day. Therefore, he was not in a hurry. A moment later, the war was over. All 26 light spirit dragons died on the battlefield. Zhou's side had also suffered heavy losses. About 5,000 soldiers had died. Fortunately, their time of death was very short. They could be revived with the small resurrection spell. Each small resurrection spell only required 10 faith divine crystals, and every clergyman could use it. Therefore, these soldiers who had died could be revived in a short period of time, at a very small price. During this period, Zhou came to the Light Spirit Dragon Lord's corpse. He looked at it. A text notification appeared. Item name: Broken Light Lord's corpse, Lord of all races. Item level: Yellow Gold Tier Elementary Grade. Item effect: Contains unextracted loots. Item description: The corpse of a dragon lord from the Light Spirit Dragon race. It died on the final battlefield fighting for the position of Lord of all races. Loots drop rate: 30 yellow gold tier mist cores drop rate, 100%. 1 yellow gold tier elementary grade skill book, Dragon Light Spiritual Fire, drop rate, 5%. 1 yellow gold tier elementary grade skill book, light spirit body drop rate, 5%. 1 legendary tier advanced grade bloodline, light spirit dragon bloodline drop rate, 3%. 1 legendary tier advanced light spirit dragon's dragon egg drop rate, 1%. 1 racial growth skill book, advanced light elemental control, drop rate, 0. 1%. 1 legendary tier advanced grade racial talent sphere, drop rate, 0.0001%. 6 black iron tier lord talent crystal fragments, drop rate, 0%. These loots are indeed the loots of a pure-blooded dragon. When Zhou saw these loots, he immediately became excited. He did not hesitate to extract it. Lord talent notification. Your loots have been enhanced by the King of Loots, perfect loots. Grade +1. Title hint. Your loots have been affected by the title of Strongest Lord. The number of loots has increased by 20%. Lord talent notification. You have obtained perfect loots, 36 mist cores, white platinum tier. 1 skill book Dragon Light Sacred Fire. Enhanceable unique. 1 skill book Light Sacred Body. Enhanceable unique. 1 bloodline Light Sacred Dragon Bloodline. Enhanceable unique. 1 Light Sacred Dragon Egg. Enhanceable unique. 1 race skill book, Special Light Element Control, enhanceable. 1 racial talent sphere, enhanceable unique. 6 Lord Talent Crystal Fragments. Zhou looked at these +1 quality spoils of war, and suddenly realized that something was wrong. Chapter 427 Absorbing the Light Sacred Dragon Bloodline. Zhou subconsciously flipped through the text notification. It was the Light Spirit Dragon of a legendary tier advanced grade. Why did the Light Spirit Dragon bloodline become an enhanceable, unique Light Divine Dragon instead of an advanced grade low-level deity advanced grade, after the +1 in quality? However, such a situation had happened before. For example, after the Scarlet Crystal's quality increased by 1, they would become higher quality Scarlet Crystals. Then, Zhou thought about the dragon inheritance in his mind, and gradually recalled the origins of the Light Holy Dragon. The more he thought about it, the more shocked he became. The Light Sacred Dragon. It could be said to be the highest-ranking dragon among the Light Spirit Dragons, and had an extremely high status among the dragons. The word unique at the back was also not wrong. This was because in the dragon inheritance records in Zhou's mind, there was indeed only one special dragon like the Light Sacred Dragon. In fact, a second Light Sacred Dragon would definitely not be born before the previous Light Sacred Dragon died. According to the Dragon Clan's inheritance, this was because the Light Sacred Dragon's bloodline was too high level. It could even be said to be an incarnation of the Light Rule. Therefore, even the Supreme Will could only nurture one at a time, and dragons of this unique level were even rarer than the dragon gods. So they were also called legendary dragons by the dragons, and even the life forms of all races. After quality +1, it actually produced a legendary dragon for me? Zhou was shocked. How shocking was the potential of a legendary dragon? According to the records of the dragon race's inheritance, there was no upper limit to the potential of legendary dragons. Even if they only ate and drank, and did not cultivate, they could at least break through to the Master God tier level. As for why they could not break through to the Supreme God realm, it was not because their potential was insufficient, but because there were other reasons. As for the reason, even the dragon inheritance in Zhou's mind did not record it. However, it was precisely because of this that as a natural incarnation of laws, the legendary dragon race was full of treasures. Any random bone and blood could be used to create divine artifacts, true divine artifacts, and even master divine artifact level treasures. Therefore, once there was news of a legendary dragon being born, it would attract the covetous eyes of countless existences. Even god spirits would recklessly attack crazily. Therefore, even though there were some legendary tier dragons in the world, there were almost no legendary tier dragons that actually appeared in front of life forms. Most of them were killed in advance. But even so, Zhou was also very surprised. This was a legendary dragon. As long as he nurtured it, Even if he did not fight for the position of the Lord of all races in the end, a grown legendary dragon would be enough to ensure that he could protect himself and even occupy a territory to dominate. As for the threat that might be attracted by the legendary dragon, Zhou didn't care much. Was he going to give up on this legendary dragon just because of the threat it posed? Impossible. Furthermore, he was a lord of all races. He had to experience countless dangers in order to protect himself in this world of the lord of all races. Since there was danger no matter what he did, what should he be afraid of? Just do it. Thinking of this, Zhou became completely determined. This legendary dragon, he had to raise it. After making up his mind, his gaze landed on the 2-meter-tall dragon egg that was emitting a faint white light. A text notification appeared. Pet egg name, legendary dragon, light sacred dragon's dragon egg, grade, enhanceable. Unique. Pet egg description. Overlord race of the world. The dragon race pet egg. After hatching it with a drop of your blood, you can obtain a young pure-blooded dragon race, light sacred dragon. Note 1. The light sacred dragon is a legendary dragon. Due to its uniqueness, it will be coveted by countless life forms and even god spirits once it is born. There will be endless trouble for you if you choose for it to recognize you as its master. Please consider carefully. Note 2. The light sacred dragon is extremely proud and will not easily recognize a life form as its master. Note 3. The current nurturing energy is sufficient. You can incubate it with blood at any time. After reading it, Zhou's excited expression gradually faded, and he frowned slightly. It won't easily recognize a life form as its master? Zhou muttered. This was a little troublesome. He did not want the light sacred dragon that he had hatched with his blood to take a look at him after it was born and run away. He frowned and thought for a while. Then he suddenly thought of something. His gaze landed on the floating heart in the pile of loots in front of him. This heart was a meter tall and emitted a faint and gentle light energy and a faint dragon might. It was the bloodline of the light sacred dragon. Bloodline name, light sacred dragon bloodline, bloodline level enhanceable. Unique, bloodline effect. After absorbing it, the user can obtain the enhanceable, unique bloodline, light sacred dragon bloodline. After fusing with this bloodline, the user will gradually awaken the race ability of the light sacred dragon during the growth process. Do you want to absorb it? This bloodline was of the same origin as the light sacred dragon. If he used the chaos human bloodline to absorb it, would the success rate be higher when it recognized him as its master? Zhou thought for a while and decided on it. Regardless of whether it succeeded or not, this was the only method he could think of now. He would try it first. Without any hesitation, he placed his hand on it and silently chanted to absorb it. The next second, Zhou felt a supreme and indifferent gaze land on him. Before he could react, he was drowned by the rich power of light laws. In the eyes of the people outside, they saw their lord suddenly emit a holy white light, making them unable to look straight at him. Right on the heels of that, the holy white light gradually formed a cocoon of light that hovered in midair, enveloping Zhou within. Bang! 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 A loud and powerful heartbeat sounded, and all the surrounding soldiers of Blazing Sun City heard it. What happened? Where's the Lord? Will the Lord be in any danger? Don't spout nonsense. The Lord is blessed by the heavens. How can there be any danger? Bai Yun, Wu Xian, and the other generals had already arrived in front of the light cocoon. They looked at the light cocoon with worried expressions. I can feel the Lord's aura, and it is growing stronger. Don't worry, perhaps the Lord is becoming stronger now. At this moment, Nazario and Auguste flew over. They looked at the giant cocoon of light in surprise, while consoling Bai Yun and the others telepathically. Bai Yun and the others finally heaved a sigh of relief. They all knew that Nazario and Auguste were their lord's pets, and had gone through life and death with their lord. There was a high chance that their lord was really safe since they said that he was fine. However, what they did not notice was that Auguste and Nazario were staring at the cocoon of light with hesitation. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.